Hello everyone, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Assalamu alaikum. It depends on where you are joining the program. Welcome to Big Bang Data Science Solution. We are a startup based in Atlanta, Georgia, and we are in the training business, especially in the analytics, data science, and all the technologies around it. So we do training in data science, machine learning, analytics in general. We do contracting, consulting, and job placement. And as a matter of fact, we have a lot of programs in data science. We have one, it's 8 months program, 5 times a week, and roughly around 15 to 20 hours a week. We have so many free programs. We have one for, it's Python for kids. It's free program for 12 months, free program. If you have a kid, if you want your kids to be enrolled, please ping me. We will take them, and it's free program. We have some 10 weeks program, free program, 10-week free program in data science. We have this type of webinars; they are free, and of course we have some paid program. For those who are registered, thank you so much for trusting BBDS, Big Bang Data Science Solutions, or BBDS for short, with your training. We are happy you joined the world of analytics. So we sent you a couple of emails to with an invite to join the Canvas. So this is the platform you need to use to get access to the training materials, if any, and also get access to the recording if you miss the session or you want to go over it one more time. So please check your email. We sent you a couple of emails. Check your emails. You should get an invite. Simply click on the invite, and it should take you straight to the Canvas. Once you create an account, and of course you need to accept the program. If you want to join again, if you want to access the program again, and you don't remember the link for that recording or for your portal, simply go to bbds.ma, B as in boy, B as in boy, D as in dog, S as in Sam, .ma, M as in Mike, A as in Apple, and click on login. Click on login, and it should take you straight to the Canvas. So you should use your credentials, and when you log in, you are going to see a program that assigned to you. In our case, you are going to see Tableau for data science, Tableau training for data science. So, excuse me, click on the modules. Click on the modules. You are not going to see what I see because I'm an admin, and you are going to see the class. So this is some of the information about the class. One thing that I want to mention, this is your instructor for today, Mr. Brother Muhammad Wasim. Is 25 years of experience in analytics, data visualization, and science. 7 years of experience in Tableau. Is a certified Tableau desktop developer and certified Tableau server admin. He has over 5 years of experience working as Tableau architecture, and he has an MBA, and he's PMP certified and Scrum Master certified. Few rules. Please don't jump on the mic. If you keep jumping on the mic, we are gonna definitely kick you out of the room. So we are gonna have a break every 1 hour, probably for 10 to 15 minutes. This is a 4-hour long drive. I know we are going to be tired. We need a break, so we are going to take several breaks. And if you have a question, a concern, so please either wait until we have the QA session. We could have a QA session every 1 hour probably, or it depends on what this instructor wants to do. But we have a chat. You can chat with us, and I will definitely monitor the chat and read the questions to the instructor. So without wasting your time, I'm gonna simply pass the floor to Brother Wasim. Wasim, if you are ready, go ahead and share your screen, please, and I will be silent for the moment. Thank you guys for your attention.
All right, I hope everybody can see my screen.
Yes.
Thank you for confirming. Welcome to the Tableau mini bootcamp or webinar or whatever you want to call it. Thank you, Brother Mo, for the kind words. Appreciate the introduction. Today's session is supposed to be
Yeah, brother Wasim, sorry for interrupting you. Would you mind use the camera for just a few seconds? I would love the audience to see you.
Sure thing.
Thank you.
Hello, everybody. Let me see if I can.
Hello.
All right. Let me see if I can minimize my camera. So
That's fine, I think.
all right.
So folks, this is Ed from BBDS. If you're there's a limit has been reached already. People are still trying to join. So if you're logged in more than once, please try to reserve yourself to one device. So log out on one or the other, extra more than one session. Don't try to be nice to other people. They're trying to join. Thanks.
All right. That's a good advice.
Hi there. Hi there. Should I go mute?
Everybody should be mute, please.
Okay, thanks.
And Brother Mo, I would also request if you could put a message in the WhatsApp group that we will be repeating this session next Sunday. So anybody who's unable to attend today should be able to attend next Sunday, inshallah.
Yeah, sure, we'll do.
All right, so my name is Wasim, and yes, next Sunday is a complete repeat of this session. Brother Mo, I need to turn off these pop-ups. How do I do that? These chat pop-ups?
Okay, let me make you different. Yeah, hold on. I'm gonna make you.
All right, I got it.
Okay.
Perfect. Otherwise, it was gonna keep disturbing. All right, so before we start, I have a link on the screen that I would like you guys to quickly take a quick survey so that we understand who our audience is today. I'm putting that link in the chat message. I would like for you guys to go ahead and do a quick survey for us so that we understand who our audience is and what your level of interest in Tableau is. At this point, everybody, please go ahead and do this survey. I can speak a little bit about myself in the meantime. I give you maybe 2 minutes to finish this survey. It's a 6 or 7 question survey.
Can you send it in the chat?
I did. It should be in the chat.
No.
We did not receive it.
All right, let me do that. There you go. A little bit about myself while you guys do the survey. I have been working with Tableau for over 7 years. I started off working as a Tableau developer. Then I got into Tableau automation, conducting some automated activities, implementing automation, using some scripting, using some tab command, using some tab admin utilities. Then I got the opportunity to work as a site administrator, then a server admin, and then an architect. Over the course of my consulting business consulting expertise, I have been fortunate enough to run into so many different situations that I think it enables me to share some of the knowledge that I've gained from different angles, all about Tableau, yet so many different stories. I've been conducting these Tableau sessions for a couple of years now. Most of my sessions have been limited. Actually, every single of those sessions has been limited only within the United States. This is the first time we have opened it up to the larger audience. So for those of you who are outside of US, welcome, and hopefully we can do many more of such sessions. Like I said, today's session is about introductory as it could go. We'll try to do some of that. I'll share the agenda on the next slide, which is we will quickly review what Tableau is, what are the products in its ecosystem. We'll get an introduction to Tableau, how to connect with data. We'll try to build some visualizations. We'll also then jump into somewhat of a advanced topic like dicing, slicing, and actually conducting analyses, creating calculation, and then finally we will do a dashboard. We'll put the dashboard together and try to publish it also. I do have written Q&A and assignment in the end, but I think because of the scope of this session, it would be better if I open the Q&A along the way as you guys are going through the
piece. Buckets come in losing 2 straight. The Joker had a season low 13 against the Lakers, and we want to let everybody know we came involved.
Thank you. So for Q&A, I was proposing that, like Brother said, maybe we could open up the Q&A after every slide. Let me finish the thought on the slide, and then I can open up the Q&A after every slide. And if there are, if situation demands or permits, we could even do the Q&A in the middle of it. I had planned for one small break in between because of the amount of content that I want to cover and just a short window of only 4 hours. I'm afraid there's going to be a lot to cover. If you guys get tired, let me know. We can take more breaks, but I was thinking to keep it down to only 1 break. All right, at this point, does anybody need more time to finish their survey? Okay. No, if you have completed, if you're done, you don't have to say it. All I'm asking is if anybody needs more time. All right. Thank you, everybody. So let's start with our Tableau agenda. Let's start with our Tableau. So what is Tableau? Tableau is one of the very well-known business intelligence and data analytics tool. Their focus of the company is, like their slogan is, see and understand the data. They have emphasis on 2 major things: see and understand. See as in make the visualizations beautiful so that people can actually see what the data is doing, and understand, make it much more meaningful. So not only you can see what the data is doing, but you can also comprehend, you can understand what the data is doing for you, and you should be able to do that, both of that, see and understand, when you're using the Tableau. Tableau has been 7 times leader in the Gartner's Magic Quadrant. For those of you who are familiar with the industry, Gartner is one of the authentic company who's tasked with reviewing the software, review the industry trends. And Tableau, they've been named a leader in the Magic Quadrant, which is the top right quadrant, 7 years straight. The best thing about Tableau that anybody would tell you is they have excellent out-of-box visualizations that are so easy to use that even little kids these days, they are opening up Tableau and they're working with it and they're making beautiful dashboards. A little bit about some of the technical information that how Tableau does it. It has an in-memory engine. It's MPP architecture. It multi-threads and it utilizes the power of your machine. And most importantly, it has the columnar structure. It's not the row level data, it's the column level data structure. And it is so intuitive that Tableau company does not make this software for IT. They make it for business users. They make it for everyday users. Obviously, IT can also use it, but they're building this software, the Tableau Desktop, for an everyday user, people like you and me and others who have never used anything previously, or who are just used to using Excel. It's similar to that, but much more powerful. Any questions?
No.
Please ask if you guys have
Brother
any
was saying,
questions.
just one quick question. I hope it benefits everybody. How does it compare to Power BI? Because Power BI is part of the Microsoft suite, and they basically are giving it away for free, at least the desktop. So what's the advantage or disadvantage compared to Power BI?
So there's 4 major players in the industry: Tableau, Power BI, Click, and ThoughtSpot. Those are the 4 major players right now in the industry. There's many more. There's Domo, and there's many more, but the major players are only those 4. Each of them has its own cult following. Each of them has its own pros and cons. There is no one straight winner. That's why the 4 of them are the leaders. Power BI, I'm certified, by the way, in Power BI as well, and inshallah we plan to conduct Power BI training sessions as well at BBDS. But a quick comparison between Power BI and Tableau is, from the ease of use and making and learning for a everyday person who has no technology background, Tableau is hands down the best tool. For somebody who's good with programming, or somebody who has familiarity with the concepts of programming and writing functions, Power BI does have the DAX language that allows you to write a lot of complex activities. Now, granted, Tableau can also do some of that out of the box, and you don't have to write. Like I said, each tool has its own. I have written a paper between on Tableau versus Power BI versus Click. For those of you more interested, we could have a separate session later on to talk about it. But yes, Power BI is also one of the contenders. Today's session is about Tableau. We'll talk everything Tableau, the power of Tableau, and how it makes life easier for people like you and me. But a good question. Thank you. Any other question?
Is there any we can connect Tableau directly with any language of programming, like Fortran? It's mean when some people were programming like Fortran or another language, to connect directly layout their export of visualization or results directly to Tableau. There is a possibility to do that?
There's another program that we do here at BBDS. Is the Tableau for Data Science, where we talk about its integration with other languages like R or Python. And then as you learn a little bit more about Tableau, you will see that Tableau is supposed to connect with data, not necessarily with a language, but more importantly with the data. So any language that is producing the data can be pushed into Tableau. The short answer is yes, there are possibilities.
And just a comment on this, Brother Wasim. Yes, Tableau does support Python and R. If you have a course in R and Python, you want to integrate them with Tableau, you can do that.
Okay, thank you.
I want to follow up on the point that you mentioned about Tableau caters to a column structure as opposed to a row structure. Maybe you'll dive into
No,
that.
it doesn't cater to that. It stores the data as columnar. That's the concept in database technologies. If you are an expert in database technologies, you would know that some database architectures depend on row level data, and some architectures depend on columnar data. So it reads all the data, row level data, but it converts it into columnar to make it much, much, much faster.
I have a question.
In terms of query execution, because it's a columnar database structure, it is much more faster than your average, non-columnar database structures like Access or SQL Server, for example.
So, so what seems it's not object-oriented? Does it mean that because it's just 2 by 2 data, or what? How
No,
should we conceive?
I think you guys are confusing it. This was the architecture of Tableau, not necessarily the programming language or the tool itself, but the architecture.
It's behind the
So
scenes.
how the data is saved is like 2 by 2 or any other dimension, or how does?
So if you have a million records, for example,
right,
a normal database will have a million rows to save it, and each row will have 50 columns, let's say, because
right,
there's 50 dimensions. But Tableau does it, instead of saving a million rows in the memory, it has 50 columns in the memory, and each column has a record, and there are pointers that point to the record number. There's a whole architecture behind it. But imagine now you have only 50 columns, and
right.
you can zip those columns, and then you can unzip them on the fly, and then you can expand them on the fly, and you can pull the record and query it so much faster than pulling it from a million records.
So how do you relate one column to another column, or one column to multiple columns, or one to many kind of relationship?
Okay.
I'm excited that you're interested in that. I think we should definitely have conversations about that, about the architecture after the session.
Brother Wasim, I have one simple question, please.
I have a question too, please.
Brother
Brother Wasim, hello, Brother Wasim. I see that all the questions, like, they are from professionals, and this is my first time I'm hearing about Tableau. To be honest with you, it's like I'm listening to Chinese. I don't understand anything that you're talking
I'll make
about.
sure I support you guys. I understand.
Yeah,
I'll make sure I support you guys. I'll make sure that we will table all such questions. I want to acknowledge those questions, but let's table those after the session.
Yeah, that's exactly what I want.
Yeah,
Please.
Wasim, I think that would be better, because that way people will have an understanding of the level of this course, like what kind of question we should be asking, like very high level or very low level, or something in between. So I think you should finish your presentation. It's just
yes, thank you. Thank you.
Not
trying
to take your job or anything. Just finish your thing. People will have a better understanding what level of a course is it, whether is it for them or not, and then we can continue on after that.
Thank you. Any other question, guys?
Just one thing, Brother Wasim. Are you going to be covering any administration level stuff on this training, on this bootcamp?
No, today's session is all about Tableau Desktop. There is a separate training sessions for administration. There is a separate training session for server admin, server architecture. But today's session is only for Tableau Desktop application. How do you build dashboards?
Okay, and you have those in the works as well, or are you guys going to be sending an invite for those?
We will be. There are slides coming up for that. Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Brother Wasim,
hello.
I already wrote a small question in the screen. Please, can you just answer it?
You have to ask the question. I cannot see the screen, please.
Okay, I just want to know a simple question, means what is a prerequisite for this Tableau training, and or what the knowledge I should have to attend this to complete this course, please.
So this today's session is introduction to Tableau. So for anybody who's interested in learning Tableau, the minimum I would imagine you want to have previous exposure to data. If you have worked in Excel for a while, that means you have worked with data. That would be a good prerequisite. Other than that, you need to have a good computer where you can download and install the application and use it. But the primary prerequisite is that you have at least used data in your experience before, and you have interacted with it, whether it's in Excel or some other tools. And if you have never done that, then this would be somewhat of a challenging session.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, moving on. So many of you might be interested in what the Tableau job market looks like. I Googled up some information, and it looks like the average salary is very decent. This is with not much experience. This is like 6 months experience, and we're looking at 80,000, 70,000, 100,000 a year salary, with very small years of, not even years, a few months of good project experience. So the job market is really good. For those of you who do come with some of the experience in other technologies, these numbers can easily be beat. You can make much more, and you can grow a strong career out of it. For those of you who are trying to learn data science, Tableau is a good complementary skill that you have that is not as abundantly available in the market today. So if you're a data scientist, if you are a salesperson, if you are a marketing person, if you are somebody who's doing some, any programming language, or if you're somebody who has no IT background, but you've been in business where you're dealing with the data, Tableau skills are going to be priceless for you. Let's talk about
me, what is like, I have a question here. What is like the meaning, like what is the Tableau developer from the A to Z? Like what he have to do, what we, like a company, what are they waiting from you exactly in the marketing, in the company?
What company do you work for? If you don't have to tell me the name, what kind of work do you do, brother?
Like IT.
What do you do in IT?
But not, right now I'm not working in IT. I'm just learning data science for now, and I would like to know like what's expected from us to do as a Tableau developer.
As a Tableau developer, the expectation would be that organizations have data coming in, whether it's the sales data, whether it's the marketing data, whether it's the sensors data, whether it's your products data, any type of data. Raw data is meaningless unless you actually find insights. Tableau will allow you to connect with data. You build your graphs, charts, you make them interactive, you present the information such that you can dig into the data and provide insights. You build those as reports, you build as dashboards, and you publish that to your end user. So an end user does not have to look at that data. Instead, they're looking at the meaningful answers that you were able to pull out of the data.
Developer is to convert from the data to be visualized and transfer from the data to be as information as this is the developer. Not maybe some people or some guys thinking developer it's mean to develop the software Tableau software itself. Some guys go in this sense.
Right. Tableau developer means that you are going to develop content, you're going to develop reports, you're going to develop dashboards, you're going to develop some systems using Tableau software.
Wasim, can we think of it
as we go through the exercise, it would get clarified.
Okay.
Quick question, Brother Wasim.
Brother Wasim, one quick question. Can we think of it as a SQL in visual?
The thinking part of what we can think of it as will become clear as we go through the exercise.
Okay.
Brother Wasim, quick question, please. about the certification. Do we need a Tableau Desktop certificate to be a Tableau developer? And what is like a regular day on a BI developer, like in the business?
Guys, let the instructor finish his conversation. We are making too much noise. We need to listen him.
All right, guys. I'll any questions that you have on the slide as I go through the slide, if there are questions that are directly related to the slide, please you're welcome to ask. Any other question, if I can't answer them right now, note down those questions and we could address those after that. Like certification, we haven't talked about it. There's a slide coming up. We will talk about it later on. If we don't, then let's ask after the session. Is that fair? Thank you.
Yes. Please go ahead.
So Tableau ecosystem. So what is Tableau? When somebody talks about Tableau, generally you're thinking about Tableau desktop application alone. But as you can see on the screen, Tableau can be broken down into 4, 5, or even 6 type of objects or 6 different streams. There's a ecosystem of content creation. How do you build the reports? You could use Tableau Desktop. You could use Tableau Prep Conductor. Tableau can also be used to hosting, which could be Tableau Server, Tableau Public, Tableau Online. Tableau can also be used to consume the reports. Like as an end user, you could use Tableau Mobile. You can use Tableau Reader. You could use even an internet browser to read the content. Tableau can also be used as an add-on to your environment, where you are adding some of the additional components of Tableau in your environment. Tableau could also be leveraged. Tableau also offers you a very robust set of APIs, so programmatically you can access using REST API and so forth. And then there's automation component that you can write some PowerShell script or VB script or C# script, where you can write some of the commands, and then those commands would be executed to conduct some of your activities. But for the sake of today's session, for the sake of this training, we are going to only talk about Tableau Desktop. But you should be able to see how huge the landscape is in Tableau. And we're just going to talk about one of the major components, which is Tableau Desktop. But know that when people talk about Tableau, they're generally talking about desktop, but it could be anything among all these other items that are on your screen. So how does the Tableau environment look like from a pictorial standpoint? Imagine you as a Tableau developer, you would be sitting on your desktop or a laptop. You will be building these graphs and charts and using the data. You would be publishing that to a server environment, a Tableau server, which will now host this information. And your friends and your coworkers will be consuming this content that you created. They will be they would be reading this on their mobile device, their web browsers, or even on their desktop computer. They can consume all of that data from their browser or their computers. So the environment is, you build it in the desktop, you publish it to server, and people consume it in their browser. Hopefully, we will start building on this rudimentary knowledge. It will become easier and easier to understand step by step. So for now, think of it, you're building using desktop application, you're publishing it to a server, and when you publish, it gives you a URL, like any other website URL. So people would access that URL to read the dashboard or to look at the dashboard that you have built. So this slide, by the way, this PowerPoint slide, we will make sure that the whole PowerPoint gets updated and included on Canvas. So it will be available for you even after the session is over. So you don't have to go crazy in writing down something right now. Just try to indulge and consume as I'm giving you this information. But all of this information will be available for you to download after the session. The two resources that I want to introduce you to today's session is Tableau Public and Community. Tableau Public is a place where you can create your own account, where people like you and me, they go and they create their own content and they publish their reports. You know, they have created reports and they are sharing those reports with other people. So for example, you click there, you go and you check out all the dashboards other people have created. You get inspired by what other people are doing. You can even try to learn how you are doing. You have the ability to download those dashboards, open the hood and look what's under the hood inside. How did they build it? You could build, you can learn. So Tableau gives you a lot of capabilities in terms of how to connect with data and learn. So you don't feel alone. You can actually click on this link and say, hey, I want to download this dashboard as a Tableau workbook.
Excuse me, we can't see the screen, your TV screen, your computer screen.
You cannot?
We can see it.
I can see it.
Yeah, we can see it.
I can.
Okay, now it's good.
All right. So like I said, you could even download it, other people's dashboard, and see how they're connected and how they're building. So Tableau makes it much easier for you to learn, and you know, it gives you the resources that you need to broaden your knowledge of the skill. All right, we talked about the job market, we talked about the ecosystem, we talked about the environment. I just introduced you to Tableau Public. I would highly encourage you to create an account after today's session on public.tableau.com. It's free to download the application, and you can get started with it fairly quickly. So now let's get started with Tableau. What Tableau Desktop is, we'll see how the magic happens. So when you open up Tableau, so when you open up Tableau Desktop, the first thing you would see is the introduction screen, where it talks about what can you connect with and what you can do with it. So if you have not downloaded Tableau Desktop, I will share the link with you to download it. Let's see. All right, I'll make sure that this link is part of the presentation that gets stored, so you should have it once you download. So once you open up the Tableau Desktop application, this is the interface that you will see. This is what I'm showing you is the free version of Tableau. The paid version of Tableau has a few advanced features, primarily with what kind of data it can connect to, but the free version allows you to connect with Excel and text files and a few other type of files. So this screen that you see on my computer right now, That's the landing screen of Tableau. Over here, you have on the left side, it tells you what kind of data connections you can connect to a server, you can connect to a file, you could connect to SQL Server, and so forth, right? Over here, you see the previous history of what you have already worked on. And over here, there are links for you to get some free training. And when you download the application, it comes with some samples preloaded in your data. So Tableau gives you a lot of support in that sense. For today's session, I would like to connect with an Excel file that comes with the Tableau itself. So that's the sample file. I'm connecting with sample file, and it is loading and reading.
Can we also
The beauty about Tableau,
go through it with you, or is that something that only you have?
I would not. You can, if you have the ability to, you can, but I would recommend not to, because I am not going to stop if you run into issues. I'm not going to be able to help you in any shape or form. Today's session is more about introduction. The hands-on pieces, they will be in the actual, either a 2-day bootcamp training or a 4-week training. Those would be much more interactively and hands-on. Today's session, I would recommend not to. I would recommend just to absorb what I'm showing you.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
All right.
Would you mind
So,
the link, please, to download it? So,
would I mind? Sorry, what?
To share the link to download the tablet?
Yes, I have updated the link in the PowerPoint. In the essence of me trying to get your attention and focus, I am not sharing the link right now so that you don't get deviated. But you will get the link as part of the presentation to download it, if that's okay with you. If you really must download it, then yeah, I can share the link. But my suggestion is to follow along for now, just on the screen.
That's fine. Thanks.
All right. So the Excel file has 3 different tabs: orders, peoples, and return. And even if I don't have Microsoft Office installed on my machine, it doesn't need Office. It can read Excel data. It's telling me that this is the data that's there. I can double click on orders, and it would show up all the information in the orders screen will pop up here. I can see what kind of data. I see order ID, I see this, I see that. I see the list of data set that's in. I'm happy with this data. I'll just say, yeah, let's go to the worksheet. And this is your workspace. This is the screen that as a Tableau developer, you would be spending 99% of the time, or 90% of your time, or most of your time you will be spent on this interface, this screen. A few things that I would like to share are, on the left hand, you see the list of, you see all information about your data. You see the fields, you see the columns that you loaded. It has category, it has city, country, customer name, order ID, ship date, what state is it in. It also shows me the discount, the profit, the quantities, and sale. So all the columns in the data have been loaded in Tableau. On the top, I see the menu options, and for now, let's ignore that for a moment, because I just want to make sure that I can at least get you started with this thing. So imagine if you want to see sales over a period of time. So you're looking for total sales, and you're saying that I would like to see the sales. So it tells me that in this data set, I have a $2.29 million sale completed. Can I break it over a period of time? Yeah, I could say, show me this information by order date. All I did was just double click the date, and it shows me year over year how the sale has gone up. It went to 484,000, next year 470, next year 609,000, next year 733,000. But year is just one of the way to look at it. What if I want to see the information over quarters or over month? I could see all of that. I could see month over month sales. I don't want to see quarter. I can say, no, take out the quarter, just show me the year and month. Or I can also say, I would like to see just year. And I could see this as a monthly, month over month sale now. So every month I see what was my sale this month, what was my sale that month. All I had to do was bring the data from here, from this section, onto my canvas, and it automatically created a graph for me. So
just a quick question. On the left-hand side, where you have these various categories, there is a line, and then it shows some additional, it seems like, calculation. Is that what is happening here, or is that also part of the Excel spreadsheet?
So the Excel spreadsheet has only these columns of data, but these fields, latitude, longitude, orders count, and measure value, and this field here, measure name, these are the automatically generated fields that Tableau software does, and it needs those fields to create the magic that it does. So it needs those fields, so it generates based on that. We'll learn more about those as we go into deeper conversations. But for now, somebody says, hey, can you show me my sales information month over month? You'll say, yeah, sure. Let me pull in the sales, let me pull in the months, and here you go. Another powerful feature that Tableau Desktop gives you that blows people's mind that have not previously seen is the show me feature. This feature here that says show me, it allows you to say, hey, show me other ways that I can, I have brought in this data, I have brought in my sales amount by order date. How else can I show this information? Show me what else can I do with this data? It says you could show this as a area chart. All I need to do is just click on it and it becomes area chart. Or if you want to look at it as a bar chart, here you go, month over month sale as a bar chart. You could show it as a highlighted map, or you could show, there is so many ways that I can show this data, and all I need to do is really nothing other than just for you to quickly show the information the way you would like the end user to see. And that's one of the strongest features of Tableau that, go ahead.
Yeah, Vasim, it looks like a pivot table to me, like maybe a little improved version of pivot table. Like you have all the columns, and then
if that's what it looks like, Pivot has a very different architecture and technology underneath it. But if it makes it easier for you to wrap your head around this thing, to think of it as a pivot, you could. But yeah, we are dicing and slicing it. There are strong limited pivot see here.
Yeah.
But yeah, that may be if it helps you understand, it's not pivot.
Okay, so basically, what's happening here is data is broken down into basic elements, and in kind of a two-dimensional data set, and it's just being manipulated based on some underlying queries, right? Is that what happening? What's happening here?
A question that we should have in class, yes.
Okay.
But yes,
Okay.
in every step of the way, that's what's happening. It's breaking it into smaller chunks
Right.
of queries and pulling the data.
Yeah, you
out
are basically
using those queries.
going down to the granular level of the data, basic elements, and then you are just kind of putting it together into meaningful information kind of thing. Anyways, sorry.
Can we please
Hello, everybody.
please hold the question?
Yeah, hold on. Let's put this as a reminder. So please hold on your questions until the instructor is ready. Otherwise, you are interrupting him not to continue. So please hold on the questions until we open the session for QA. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Please, if I tell you that hold these questions for after the class or after the session, please do so.
I think we keep getting lost his voice.
Yeah, I think we lost him.
Yes.
So, Wasim,
Yeah.
so everybody, so please jump in the mic. We are going to handle any technical issues. Please just, stay silent until we give you the chance to ask questions. Please. Wasim, we lost you. So let's take a break for two or 3 minutes, trying to wait for Wasim to join us again. Yeah, I see he's off. Wasim? Okay, he will join again. Just bear with us. So now we are now recording. So if anyone wants to ask a question, so please feel free to do so. While we are waiting for Wasim to join us again.
Brother Mo, can you share this file that
Yeah,
Brother
which
Wasim is
file?
working?
Sorry, I'm not
Yes.
instructor. So yeah, let's wait for Wasim to join us. But I'm here to support you to ask any question you may have.
Canvas is asking a join code. How can we get a join code?
For what? For this session?
You were showing the Canvas at the beginning of the class, and we got the email about the Canvas.
Yeah, the Canvas. Yeah, there is no joining code for that. Simply click on the invite. It should take you straight to the program. Okay, let me call Wasim to see what's going on. I'm kicked out. Why you are kicked out? So,
Brother Mo, is it where we can find this file that Wasim is
please
working?
hold on, Sajin. Let me call the instructor because he got the problem.
Whoa, it's worse than you thought. We've hit the limit of the number of people. Okay, right now we're down 3, so Wasim might be able to sneak in. So if the limit is there, he can't join, even though.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, thank you.
It's a bad situation.
Sorry, guys, for this unexpected technology. Hey, Wasim. Oh, he's not available. So we are in a big problem right now. So let me try again. Sorry, guys.
And forward it to an automatic voice message system.
Yeah, please bear with us. I think Wasim does join. I don't know why he did. Probably he kicked himself because I don't know if anyone has the ability to to kick him out of the room. But I will try to be on the top of this.
All right, can you guys hear me?
Here we go. Yes, welcome.
All right.
Welcome back. Sorry.
How Tableau makes it so easy for you to check different ways you can present the same information and depending on your use case, you could say that, hey, I would like to present my information to my audience this way or that way. So one of the very powerful features is show me. And as you hover over these things, Tableau does tell you what kind of data you need to show a certain type of graph and chart. So it tries to educate you. All right. I would also mention that some of the one area that you want to learn about as you start learning Tableau would be your marks card. This area here, it tells you, it gives you the ability to manipulate the visualization the way you want it to be visualized. So there's a lot of customization options available in the marks card. It allows you to change the graph into a bar chart or a line chart, or all the things that we saw from the show me. Show me works hand in hand with marks. So this is an area that if you're new to Tableau, you want to learn more about marks card. Coming back to the UI, on the bottom of this dashboard or Tableau desktop screen, you would see sheet 1. That's the sheet that you're working on. Tableau allows you to create as many sheets by clicking on this plus sign, and each of these sheets act as one visualization. You could create another sheet that maybe you want to look at the sales information geographically. You want to see how much sale am I making by region, by country. So I could bring in the country into the map, and I can say show me the sales by country. And I want to look at the state level information. Where is the state? All right. I can go to show me and say, show me a field map. So now I can see Texas has $170,000 sale, and California looks like has $457,000 sale. It looks like New York. The color coding is there. I can even apply the color coding differently. I can say I wanna, instead of blue colors, I would like to have some different palette. Maybe a palette that diverges. The red ones are the ones that are not making as many sales, and the blue ones are the ones that are making good sales. Darker the red color, lower the sale. Darker the blue color, higher the sale. And I quickly build this geo map, and it shows me the sales information over map. So now we saw our dimensions, we saw our measures of the data showing up here. We see the canvas, we see the drawing board where you will be drawing all the visualizations. We saw the show me. We saw that you can have as many sheets as you want. You could rename it to whatever you want to rename it to. And it keeps going. So let's go back to our PowerPoint slide and let's see what else is there. The next topic I want to cover, and if you notice, there's a lot of in these slides. I have some of the topics are grayed out. Those are the topics that we will cover in the subsequent trainings and sessions, but for the sake of time, we will not be covering them today. So how does Tableau, now let's take a look at what is the concept of data connection in Tableau? How do you connect with data? What are the different ways of connecting with data? And what's entailed in each of those? let's go back to our Tableau data connection screen. Tableau allows you to connect with file level data, Excel, text file, JSON, Access. It can even read from a PDF file. It can read from a website. Or if your data sits in a environment where, if you work in a organization, chances are that your data sits on a server. It comes in SQL Server, it comes in Oracle. And if you open this connection, here's a list of 65 or 70 plus data connections that are available out of the box. You can connect to IBM DB2, you can connect to Oracle, you can connect to SAP, you can pull the data from Splunk, Teradata, you name it. All these type of data bases, any of those databases, I'm sure some of them sound familiar to you. It can even pull from the Impala and Hadoop, the big data engine. And if everything else fails, it gives you the ODBC and JDBC connections. What that means is, as long as your database is ODBC compliant or JDBC compliant, Tableau can connect with it. And why does Tableau need to connect with it? Because it wants to read that data and build the visualizations and show it to you, to your users, what the data is, what story does the data tell you. How do you connect? When you open up your application, you say, okay, I want to connect with data. You point it to the database where the data is. You provide your credentials. You tell what table it is in. Just the same exercise that we had. It will give you the list of tables where the data is. You bring in the table that you want to bring in, and you can get started with building your graphs and charts and maps and so forth. Any questions so far? Okay. All right. So,
Brother Wasim, just to summarize, I'm trying to build this high-level picture in my head. So you basically get the data, and the sources could be, as you were describing in the previous charts. You get them into kind of loaded into Tableau. And then you start analyzing the data. Even before analyzing the data, you build your charts or maps, however you need to, and then it gives you the tools to do it in different ways and see it in different ways. That could be now presentable, and you can extract easily information needed for the business purposes. Would that be the correct?
That's a good summary. That's a good summary. Thank you. Obviously, every single word that you said can be further details and coloring can be added, and there's much more to learn for every single aspect of the phase that you said, but that's a good summary. You connect with data, you pull the data in, you build the maps and charts and graphs, you compile them together as interactive, compile them together as a report or a dashboard. You apply analytics on it. You conduct your analysis, and then you share with others by either publishing it or doing whatever automation needs to be done. But that's a good summary. Thank you.
Brother Wasim, just one quick question here. When you're pulling the columns or fields, if you delete or change anything within Tableau, does it affect the data source? I mean, if I delete a column or change anything within this Tableau, would it actually change anything in the data source itself?
No, it is one way. It's a one way. It only reads the data. Technically speaking, you could, but that's a very complex process on how to write it back into the server.
Okay. It's just read
it's not
only.
meant for that. It only reads only. Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
So Wasim, this Tableau is not a database, right? It's something that runs on top of database.
For the sake of this conversation, yes, it is. It is a visualization tool. You don't store the data in here. You store the data in your data sits in database, and you use this tool to build the graphs.
Okay, gotcha.
All right, thank you. All right, so one element that I want to talk about is the connection type. When you are connecting with data, there is two different types of connection: live and extract. So what does that even mean? It kind of relates to the question that I was just asked, that does it create a copy of the data? Does it load the data? So when you are connecting live, that means you are pulling the data from the database in real time. So whatever information you are seeing on screen is the information as of right now in the database as well. Another way to pull the data and build these reports and dashboards could be as an extract. And the concept of extract is that you are taking a snapshot or screenshot, or you're looking at data that may not be in the real time. Imagine you work for a company that has cashier stores across the nation, and every store does sell, let's say, vegetables. At the end of the day, the cashier will finish the register and close the register and send all the data at the night time to your database. In the morning, you come in and now you have all the sales data from yesterday. You don't receive new data until next night. You receive data every morning. You don't receive it during the day. In those situations, for example, if you look at the data at 9 a.m. or you look at the data at 9 p.m., there won't be anything different, right? Because data is not changing. It's kind of stationary data. It's not changing during the day. In those situations, you don't need a live connection. You could say, hey, give me an extract, give me a snapshot as of this morning, and I'll continue to use that snapshot. And every morning, refresh this snapshot based on the new data that comes in. So that's the concept of an extract. Why do people do extract versus live? When you are interacting with your reports, and when you're building the reports, when you're building the dashboards, it's sending the request for data to the database. And if the data is not changing, then you're putting unnecessary burden on the database. Why not just take a snapshot, and now it does not have to send the request to the database. It already has all the data in its memory. Much, much, much faster now, because it doesn't have to make a trip to the SQL Server, or it doesn't have to make a trip to the Snowflake or to the cloud to pull the data from there. Instead of pulling there, it already has data in its memory. So extracts are much faster, much preferred, and very, very heavily common in the industry when it comes to Tableau desktops. Chances are, whenever you see a Tableau dashboard, chances are that it would always be an extract, unless it's for a reason that requires you to refresh the data so often that you need a real-time data. Any questions on live versus extract so far?
Just a quick question. So extract is done on historical data. Is that what I'm understanding?
Every data is historical. There is no non-historical data. I mean, even if the data is coming in real time, it has already happened. So technically it's historical.
Historical, you can take it
just
as
one question.
snapshot of the data at that time.
Data at that time, say that again, please.
Yeah, instead of historical, you can think it as a snapshot of the data at the time when the extract runs, so that you have the snapshot of the data at that time. What was?
Correct.
As
I think the sister's question was that is the extract historical data? I'm just saying that any data that comes in is historical, but yes, somewhat you're right that when you look at extract, that means chances are it's old, much older data than real time. There was another question.
Yeah, wouldn't it be better to call it live and non-live data? That would make it easier.
The term used is extract, but you could think of it as live versus non-live. Even live data is not really live. You'll learn a little bit more about it as you start working with it. That there's yet another level of complexity known as streaming data, which is the real-time data versus live data. So for now, for the sake of this conversation, live connection is your real-time data as of now. Extract is somewhat of an older timestamp.
Mr. Wasim, this is Ed. I have a question. Say you build your all your.
Where is this?
Hello. Oh.
Go ahead, Ed.
Yeah. Say you build the your 5 tabs on the bottom, and you built this 5 days ago. Is there a button you can hit that says refresh the data?
Correct. So if you connect
it's not live per se, it's just I want to redo the data. In other words, the data structure hasn't changed. I just want new data because the last time I ran it was 5 days ago, and it may have changed.
Correct. So when you open the dashboard, as an end user, you go to a website and you say, okay, show me my report. The dashboard opens up. If it's live connection, it's pulling the data from the database at that time. So it will be fresh as of now. But if it's an extract, it will not be pulling the data from the tables, but it will be bringing the data from the snapshot that you took 5 days ago. So it will be stale, except that Tableau allows you to set up schedules. How often do you want these extracts to be refreshed? So if you have set up a daily refresh, then chances are you're looking at the fresh data as of this morning, or as of Saturday morning, or as of Friday morning, depending on, or as of 15 minutes ago, depending on what the schedule of refresh you have set up. We'll learn more about how to schedule and how to set up those things as part of learning Tableau down the road. But that hopefully that gives you the idea that extract means historically data. It was accurate picture, but it's historical picture of a while ago. If you want to look at as of right now, you may have to either refresh or you may have to connect live.
So, Brother Wasim, so by extract, you mean you're caching in data somewhere in Tableau Server, or is it data embedded in the report?
It is embedded on the server. It's cached in the server. It's cached in the server so that when your report pulls up, rather than sending the request for data to the to the SQL server, it's sending the request to its cached database on Tableau Server.
So at any point in time, I can point to that extracted cached version and build any other version.
Yes, you could.
On top of.
Yes, you could.
Can I ask one question?
Yes, please.
How can we edit the snapshot data, that is the previous data, what have been extracted? Suppose we want to edit something, we want to update something, can we do that?
When you say update something, remember earlier question was that if I make any changes in Tableau, does that change the underlying data in the Snowflake, for example, or in the database? And the answer was no, you cannot. So when you ask the question that can I edit or can I modify something, any changes that you want to make to the data, you'll have to make those changes in the database, not in the Tableau, but in the database.
Okay, good.
Did I get that? Did I understand your question right?
Yeah, exactly. Thank you so much.
All right. So next thing I want you guys to learn about or take note of that you will hear often is TWB, TWBX, TDS, TDSX, these are some of the terms that you would hear. They sound complex, but they're very simple. TWB means Tableau Workbook, Tableau Workbook Extract, Tableau Data Source, and Tableau Data Source Extract. So you may run into these terms as part of your learning, and I want to make sure that you understand what they are. TWB is this workbook that we are creating, this dashboard that we are working on. It's a Tableau workbook. A workbook has multiple tabs in it. A workbook can have multiple tabs in it. It's stored as TWB. Because my connection right now is live, it will be stored as TWB. But if I ask it to create an extract, this workbook will be saved as TWBX. That's the only difference between TWB and TWBX. Now it's saying save the file as Tableau Data Extract. So chances are that as you're learning, you will see these terms. Hyper is the name of technology that is used to store these snapshots. Hyper is also, for those of you who are more tech savvy, Hyper is also the database technology that Tableau uses behind the scene to to store all of its data. Hyper is the database, if you will, that is being used behind the scene on Tableau Server. All right. So we talked about our ability to connect with data. We talked about our ability to connect live versus extract. We saw how the data will be stored as TWB or TWBX. You could, we didn't talk about TDS and TDSX. TDS means Tableau Data Source, and TDSX means Tableau Data Source Extract. You could publish the dashboard, you could publish your reports, and as you become more and more familiar with Tableau, for those of you who are new to Tableau, as you become more and more familiar with Tableau, you'll start asking a question that, hey, I am using the same data and I'm building 3 different dashboards using the same data. And every time I have to connect with that same data, I have to connect it again and again using my data connection. Wouldn't it be cool if I had that data available directly on Tableau? And rather than me connecting to my SQL server, I pull the data directly from Tableau? Yes, you can. And that's called the Tableau Data Source. You could publish the connection information as data source. You could publish it as a snapshot with the extract itself. And you can connect directly rather than having to have a connection, an account on SQL Server. As long as your data is available on Tableau Server, you don't even need to worry about the back end of the databases. Your data is available on server, connect with it directly, and there you go. Now we'll try to create some first set of vizzes. Viz is the term used for visualization. That's just a way of saying let's create first set of graphs and charts and whatever we want to do. It's called Viz. I wanted to create bar chart of sales by region. Help me, somebody. What do I do first?
Take sales and put it on rows.
Sales
on the rows and
region
on the columns.
Sales on the rows and region on the columns. Okay. Now, interesting that you said rows and columns because we had not talked about it so far. We did not talk about rows and columns, and I would want to go back and I would undo what we just did. All I want to do is show me sales by region. So look what I'm doing. I'm clicking on region and I'm control clicking on sales so that I have both region and sales selected. And show me. Can we mute, please? Can we mute, please? Thank you. So all I have done is clicked on region and control click on sales so that I have 2 items selected. Show me is already telling me that you could do a, hey, you could do a bar chart, you could do a pie chart, you could do this, you could do that. All I need to do is just click one of those, whichever I like. By default, this is selected. It says all those options exist. Tableau is telling me that all these options exist, but it's proposing to use this for a region, sales by region. And all I need to do is just click here. And I got the region on the y-axis and I got the sales on the x-axis. I could also swap and I can say, okay, region on the x-axis and sales on the y-axis. And in essence, that's exactly what Tableau is doing, is putting the sales on rows and region on columns, and it's creating a bar graph for me. So good job, thank you. Next one, let's see. I want to do a line chart of sales by order date. Someone else help me, please. How do I do that?
You do the same thing. You do the order date, select the order date, control shift with sale. And then you can go to the show me, and again, it is suggesting to use the bar graph.
No, but I want to remember the question was line chart. How do I do a line chart? Oh, sorry, I selected order ID instead of order date. Order date and sales. All right.
Yes, in this case, it is now proposing, the line chart. Yep.
All right, there you go. And by default, Tableau, the power of Tableau, as you attend some of the more detailed training sessions, we'll talk about how Tableau makes things faster. And one of the strong arsenal in its chest of armor is the power of aggregation. Tableau does a wonderful job of pre-aggregating some of the dimensions. And in simpler words, what I'm trying to say is that notice how Tableau rolled up the dates at a year level to the highest level. The dates if I go to my data connection, and if you look at the order date, let's see, if I were to look at the order date, it's not at a year, it's not at month, it's an actual date field. You guys see that on my screen, right? So order date is an actual date. But look at what Tableau did. It by default rolled up everything at the max level, at the year level. And that was fast. I could say that, no, I don't want it at the year level. I want to look at it at the month level, or I want to look at it at the quarter level, or I want to look at it at the week level, or I want to look at the individual date level. And just like that, it keeps changing the aggregation down to the level that you want it to be at.
So just a quick question, Rudolphine. So when you have those options available, like you just went from yearly to monthly, quarterly, etc. So if you look at the column there, it gives you some visual clue to say, okay, there are other options available.
No, not really. The only clue you would have is when there's a plus sign here. That means it's what we call hierarchy. It's a group. It's a something that you can break open.
Okay,
So
that's
if
what I
there's a
meant.
plus
Okay.
sign, that means you can go down further level.
Okay, thank you.
All right, someone else please help me. I would like to create a map, a field map by average profit. Somebody who has not had a chance to speak so far, please. How do I build a map? We have more than 100 people on the call.
We have
need to use
we have a profit. Click on profit.
Click on profit.
Yes.
And then you can click on state, maybe.
Click on state, maybe. All right.
Yes.
Click on region.
You go to show me.
Show me.
Yeah, there you can see that you have
Yes.
two types of maps.
Okay. Which one do I select?
You can select the right one.
The second one.
We have to use longitude and longitudes.
You didn't have to use. Hold that question just a moment. Let me finish this. So,
But we need the average profit.
yes, we need the average profit. What is it that it's showing right now? Total profit.
Yes. We will go
Who asked the question?
On the sum, and it should give you the option to change the aggregate to sum or average or median, whatever.
Yeah, that's a good idea. You see, it says sum of profit. You could change it to
Right.
median, count,
there.
and average or minimum.
That
Select
makes it
average
easy.
right here.
That makes it easy.
Even easier is, right now it says sum of profit. You just type in instead of you just type in
Yeah, just say AVG. Yeah.
You just type in the function average.
Right.
And there you go. Now you have the average profit. And the average profit is from negative $36, which means it's loss, all the way to $204 profit. So even though California was pretty big in terms of its overall profit, it looks like Vermont is the best in highest in terms of average profit.
Average, does it know by number of sales, I guess?
It's right. I mean, your data is there. You didn't have to. If you were in Excel, you would say, show me the sum of sales and divide by a total number of records. That would give you the average. Then you would say, give me this average at the state level. So you would do a lot of manipulation and calculation in Excel.
Manual processing.
This is doing it on the fly for you. Remember this graph that we did?
Right.
Looks like only good states, are New York and California. Everyone else sucks according to this graph.
Right.
But reality is, well, what is my average profit? Who's the good state now? Suddenly New Hampshire and Vermont and all these states, they were not even anywhere in anybody's consideration. Now they're becoming more and more good looking.
No, I was just trying to understand. Average means based on number of sales, right? Perhaps.
Average, there's a caveat.
I think it's just doing the number of records.
Visualizations and insights are only as good as your data.
Right.
If the data has the profit information, then it's doing the average of the value that's inside that field.
Okay. Well, I'm just trying to understand. This is the number of sales, I guess. Average based on number of sales. Okay, thank you.
There was another comment earlier that I said that let's hold that thought for a moment. Yeah, somebody asked about latitude and longitude. Do you guys remember that question? Would somebody like to repeat that question? All right, let's move on if not.
Brother Wasim, just a quick question. So this tool can be used for so many different market areas, right? Or type of businesses or whatnot. So in addition to the tool itself, one needs to have the business know-how to be able to use an optimal use of such a tool, correct?
Tool by itself is no good. Somebody who is operating the tool would make it good for your organization. So you, when I opened up this slide, if you remember, I was talking about the slogan of Tableau is see and understand the data. But the last bullet point that I mentioned that was it is not built for IT people per se. This tool is built for average everyday user, people who may not be technology champions, but people who are, interacting with data as part of their job. Imagine you are an HR manager. You're not IT, but you have tons of applicants' data that you can use to build insights and provide insights to your organization and say, hey, this is the pay structure, we need to change this. Or this is the application pool, we need to change this. Or here's the geographical areas where we have chances of getting a higher potential candidate. Limitless the potential of the tool. And you could do that if you know your business. So you're absolutely right. When you're conducting this analysis, hopefully you would know your business that you're dealing the data that you're dealing with. Otherwise, it's not as meaningful.
Right. Yeah. So the reason I asked that question was like there's some of us that who are trying to think of maybe moving to this area. So tool is one aspect, but there is also the business knowledge itself, right? And the combination of the two would make you a good Tableau developer, for example.
In my so many years of consulting and training career, one advice that has been common and consistent across years that I give everybody is don't use Tableau to as a tool that would help you go into IT. Use Tableau as a tool to complement your existing skills. Build on top of your business skills that you already have, whether it's IT skills, whether it's business skills, whether it's operation skills, whatever skills you have. Chances are, if you deal with data, you are already subject matter expert. Now you have the ability to use the tool also and you would be one of the best among your peers because you not only have the business domain under your belt, but you also have the technology domain to build these dashboards. So if some of you are trying to use this tool to get into IT, my recommendation is learn the tool, but try to learn it based on top of the knowledge that you already collected in whatever domain you were working in. If you're working in pharmaceuticals, if you're working in a pharmacy, if you're working in a business, if you're working, no matter where you're working today, whatever you have learned, chances are that there was data. Use this tool, use the data in this tool to build on top of it so that if you go into IT tomorrow, you can say, hey, I've been building dashboards for HR, and now I want to become a developer in IT. So that would be the better approach than just saying that forget the knowledge that I gained and now learn a new tool and try to enter in the new market. You won't be able to enter into the market. It will be easier for you to enter into the market by building on top of the knowledge that you already have.
Can I
Hopefully
just
that
add one simple
I have
way?
a
Yeah, I mean, you know where you are going. This tool will get you there faster, basically.
Thank you.
I
Any
have
other
a
question, guys?
question. I have a
Yes.
question, please. So, as you said that when we have like a snapshot picture, correct me if I'm wrong. When we say snapshot, it's a picture. Is that correct?
No, no, it's not. A snapshot is a term used in database technology where it means
Static data.
Because I saw also there is PDF file.
correct.
So PDF
So
file is a picture. My question is, how can that Tableau change information from picture to numbers?
I see. Okay. So there's
Thank
two
you.
things here. Sure. There's two things here. One, that when we say a snapshot really, it really means is it copies all the data and write that data into a new database or new table for you. And that table is called, that was the snapshot of the data yesterday. So the actual data may have changed in the database, but this is what the data was yesterday. It's not a picture. It's not a snapshot as in pictorial diagram, but snapshot simply means we copied all those rows and columns and we put them in a new database. The second part of your question was about PDF document. Imagine if you have a PDF document that has a list of a columnar data that has, first column has the employee name, second column is his date of when they started working for us, and the third column is their other information, and then there's sales information and their salary. It's a text information. Tableau can read that text, not picture, but a text out of that PDF and bring that in, just like you would copy paste that information from a PDF file into a Word. Same thing, it can read that text table from there and bring it inside Tableau. Like imagine if you have a table of data on a website. The dashboard, the Tableau tool can read it from a website, and you can bring that data inside your Tableau, and you can build dashboards off of that. I hope that answers.
Hello, everyone.
So thank you so much. Thank
please
you.
hold on. Everybody, please hold on. Please hold on. No more questions, please. Please, the instructor continue, and we are going to give you a chance to ask questions. So please, no more questions at this point of time. Thank you, everybody.
Can we get a break?
All right. Yes, that's the next item on the agenda.
Vasan, can you come back to the previous slide, Tableau slide?
I will in just a moment. Let me finish this, please. The cross tab. So the last information is I would like to see a cross tab of show me a text table of quantities ordered by category. So somebody please help me. How do I do that? I would like to, my boss is asking how many quantities have we sold by category. Someone who has not spoken so far.
So select quantity.
Quantity.
Along with the
category.
Subcategory. Category. Yeah, category.
All right.
Go to show me.
Do we need to click on show me?
Yeah, there are multiple ways, but show me is the easiest way.
Okay.
You can see the tabular in the first one, right? The table. Yeah.
We sold 8,000 products in furniture, 22,000 in office supplies, and almost 7,000 in technology. So another way to do this, you could say, show me category. It says furniture, office supplies, and technology, and then double click on quantity. and say 8,000, 22,000, 6,000. Tableau will give you options to do the same, reach the same end result in many, many ways. And my intention is to show you the easier way to get started, but there's so many different ways of doing that. And now,
can we also select one more field? Is that possible?
Can we select one more? Yeah, if I
Yeah,
want to see the sales. There you go.
Like category region wise, or say, okay, profit quantity sales. Okay.
All right. At this point, any other questions that you guys have before we go on a break? Because the next slide is break.
Wasim, like, can you show me the in cross tab? Can you show the multiple variables? Like, you showed like 2 bivariable, right? Can you show like more than 2 variables?
Yeah, I mean,
So,
we show the category. We could also show, let's say, region. You want to say category by region, you move that on this side. So now this is the region and this is the category and all these.
In the graphical part, like in the cross tab, that's why I asked like the previous slide.
Yeah, I mean, you could do a graph.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay.
Wasim?
Yes.
Wasim? Yes or no question. Can we save SQL statements at Tableau level without going to the data list? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. All types of other than update statements, like any manipulative kind of complex.
Select.
Okay.
Select
a statement.
Okay.
That's correct.
Right.
Wasim? So like when you pull the data from the SQL, like raw data from the database, like so it might be have a missing values, those kind of things, right? Can we the Tableau can directly deal with that, or we need to like do all the feature engineering and everything like EDA, and then we have to bring the data to Tableau?
Tableau does offer EDA, some capabilities of EDA beyond the scope of today's, but yes, it does allow. It allows that in its data ingestion on the data source screen. It does allow you to do that. A lot of that over here.
Okay. Thank you.
Would you show some
What
of?
would be the?
Hey,
What would be the?
Wasim,
Would you be showing
brother, hold on just one moment.
Everybody, please hold on. Please, this is not a healthy conversation. I know you have great questions to ask, but let's please focus on the topic. Don't ask future questions, something that might be addressed later. So you are wasting time if you keep asking this type of questions, which of course they are great, but this is not the right time to ask them. So please simply ask question on the topic covered at this moment. Thank you, guys. And
So you could quickly see the value. You could see the region, you can see the category, and you can see how much sale we were making. Is that what you were asking?
Yes, and then if you wanted to switch back and do tabular, is that what it would be?
Yeah, you could click on that and go tabular.
Thank you.
One thing I forgot to mention. One of the strong feature in Tableau is the undo and redo. There is no limit on how far you can go. You can go as far back as to the first activity of the day that you did inside this open. So you can always do undo and redo. All right.
Wasim, I have one quick question for you.
Go ahead, please.
My question is, like, I was looking at your left column that you have table, and then right here there is a line that drops. You have discount, profit, quantity. My question is, like, when you are trying to double click on any of the categories, any of the items under table or discount, and some of them they fall into rows and columns, does the system automatically know which of these categories are going in rows and which of these categories are going in column? How does this left navigation is working, and are we double clicking on it and it is pointing to the row or column? Can you just kind of put some light on the left side of column? Thank you.
Okay. this is a I'm so excited that people are actually observing that and noticing that. That's a topic that a whole slide is dedicated in our upcoming program. But you're absolutely right. Depending on the association that Tableau created, when Tableau reads the data, it identifies the data as a dimension or a measure based on the content of the data. So once it identifies something as dimension, and dimensions are up here on the top of the line, and measures are on the bottom of the line. So depending on if a field is a dimension or a measure, the behavior of double click is different. And what's the behavior? We could talk a lot of that in the upcoming session.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, one more thing to add, in terms of differentiating between dimensions and measures. In terms of color, if you see our measures, they are green. They are green.
Brother, that's not accurate. Brother, that's not accurate, and I don't want to say that because that's not accurate.
I'll be quiet. Okay, thank you.
The color green and
Are you hearing
blue,
me?
they do not identify whether it's a measure or not. But we will talk about that in the coming sessions. Yes.
Hello, are you hearing me?
One last question. Yes, I can hear you. Yes.
Yeah. So the data we are importing is mostly text. Can we import the graphical data in it or not?
When you say graphical data, import graphical data, what does that
Pictures
mean?
or existing graph pictures?
No, you cannot. You can add pictures. You can add pictures in your dashboards. You can add pictures and other objects, videos, and all that stuff in your dashboards. But no, you cannot read pictures and use that as data.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So it's 12:55. I would propose that we take a 10-minute. If somebody needs, what do you guys think? Is 10 minutes good, or should we take a 15-minute break?
10 is fine.
10 is fine.
All right.
It's better.
All right. So it's 12:55 Eastern right now, and we'll see you guys at 1:10. Actually, 1:10. We'll see you guys at 1:10. Thank you, everybody. All right. Before we went on break, we talked about Tableau. We talked about the ecosystem of Tableau. We saw how Tableau has such a large landscape, so many different tools. What we are focusing on here is Tableau Desktop application. We opened up the Tableau Desktop application. We saw how to connect with data. We pulled in some data. And before we went on break, we even went to look for some of the ways we can create charts. We created bar charts, line charts, maps, and crosstabs. At this point, we will talk about some of the next level of activities that can be performed within Tableau. So yeah, we connected with the data, but it's all the data that was in there. Most of the time, you don't need to look at all the data. Most of the time, you want to break the data by region, for example, or by year, for example. Maybe you're interested only in the last 1 year data. You're not interested in all the historical data. Maybe you're interested in, maybe you work only in the East region, so you don't care much about the other regions. So you want to look at only the East region data. So Tableau gives you the option, Tableau gives you the ability to filter out the data in various ways. And depending on your need, there are different type of filters that you can apply on your data set. The first one that we want to look at is the data source filter. So imagine if you are looking at this data set and all you care for is let's say one region, or one, or you're the general manager for furniture category, or you're the general manager for central region, or you're the general manager who's responsible for just the Texas state. You know, it could be so many different things. And you are interested in saying, hey, just give me only the data for my region. What I could do is I can go to the data source and I can add a filter here. And as soon as I click on add, I see a long list of all the dimensions that I have in my data. Remember the same dimensions we looked at earlier? Category, city, region, discount. Everything that we looked at earlier is right here. So I could select region and I can say, hey, yeah, I wanna add a filter at the region level. And it pulls me all the possible values that exist in the data right now for the filter, for the region field. I see central, east, south, west. Imagine I'm interested only in the central region. I would say, keep the data only for central region. Everything else, I'm not interested. And if I hit OK and apply, now the data is re-pulled. And as I go through the all the charts and maps, everything would be changed now, because all I'm looking at is all the data I have is only limited to central region only. Existing dashboards, existing views will also be changed, and anything new that I will create now will also be limited only to that one region alone. Any questions so far?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
If you want to put filter on only one sheet, then?
Yeah, that's a good question. All right, we'll talk about that. Any other question?
No, that's
I want to ask a question about like a timeline. If I wanted to, like, you know, those they're like not a bar, but it's a scroll, right? Is there something like that?
Scroll bar?
Yeah, for timeline.
Yes, you could add scroll bars. Yes, not just for timeline, for any field that goes beyond your view, you could add scroll bar. Yes.
Would you be covering that at some point or showing?
It might come up. Yes, when we are doing the dashboard, we might cover it.
Thank you.
All right.
I have one question.
Same way you can apply filter on measures too, Wasim?
Yes.
Okay.
Hey, Asim, question on the filter. Can you filter based on a person, or is it filtered for everybody?
Yes. That's an advanced topic, but the answer is yes.
Thank you.
All right. So, one question that was asked earlier was that, thank you, Wasim, you applied the filter that made my life easier, except now that filter is applied across everything. I only wanted it only on one visualization or only one sheet, but everything is now limited to the central region. And that's right, because the type of filter that we applied is called data source filter. So we like they say, nip the evil in the bud. So we filtered everything right at the data source level. So no other data is even coming into our Tableau. If you have a need that you want to see some data on some sheets and some data filtered out from other sheets, then there are other type of filters. For that reason, let's remove the data source level filter. And now you have everything back to normal the way it was. and everything will have everything. Now imagine if you want to give your end user ability to say, okay, I want you to look at only one region. Right above the marks card is the section that's called filter pane. This is the section where you bring in your filters. And if I want a region level filter, I can drag region and drop it on the filter. And as soon as I do, a familiar interface would show up that says, select from this list. What do you want to show? I want to show only central region. And I hit OK. And I only see central data here. Everywhere else, I still see all the data. It's only this one sheet that I see central region. I can go ahead and apply the same filter on this screen and choose East region. Now I have East region here, Central region here, and no filtration here. So now I can apply different type of filters. I could also give the end user an ability, like if I'm publishing a dashboard for my boss or for my business people, I could give them an ability to pick and choose what region they want to see. I can say, hey, instead of just applying the filter, show this filter on the dashboard. If I click on show the filter, what that does is it will open that option, that drop down, that selection option for an end user. So if I click on show filter, I see a region with check boxes here. Now I can say, show me a central, south, west, or whatever I want to say. Now as an end user, I can pick and choose whatever I want, however I see fit. Now suddenly I have given the power of this selection and make it more interactive by putting this power in the hands of an end user.
Brother Asim?
Yes.
In the slide 5, you showed like option to show the filter options for the users, right?
Yes.
So in that one, do we have any control just to show, like example, in this one, I just want to show only, give the option to the user only select central and east, not to view at all south and west.
So
I don't want any options for them to select that one.
There are ways, but beyond the scope. But yes, you can.
Okay.
Not out of the box solution, but yes, you can.
Okay.
So now we have created a filter that person can select more than one. What if you want to give them an option to pick only one region at a time? You can say, hey, I've changed the appearance of this as a single value list. Now it's a radio button. You cannot pick more than one region. You can pick only one region or all. So there's a lot of customization options available. When we go into detailed learning, we'll see how you customize some of these filters, how you make them even more powerful than what they are today by customizing some of these options.
So Wasim?
Yes.
So these customizable options are available at the administrator level or as a user level?
So let me rephrase the question so everyone else can understand.
Okay.
So when we are talking about customizing and changing it to drop down or changing it to a single selection or multi-selection, as a developer, you have the option to do all of that. And as a developer, you could also make that option available to the end user. That end user can also customize it the way they see it, or not customize it. So as a developer, you could do all of that. Yes.
Okay, but sorry. So we can allow, we can disable the permissions for the users to manipulate data in any other way, right?
It's not permissions, but yeah, we could build it the way. Like imagine if I publish this dashboard
right
now as a central region,
right
and if I remove this card, hide this card,
right
this view is now hard coded with central region, and the end user
right.
does not have any ability to change it. So right. As a developer, yes, you have a lot of customization options to implement.
You may have some private data. So you may have some private data in central region that you don't want to see other people in the other regions, right? So for that reason, I was asking. Okay, you got.
If you have any more questions on that, let's talk offline.
Wasim, just one quick question. Just like you are presenting users with an option of choosing the region, can we also do it? This is done at the sheet level. Can we also do the same at the data source level?
At the data source level, no.
No, we cannot. Okay. No prompts or anything like that?
No.
Brother Wasim, I have a quick question for you. I am looking at your rows and columns. Your rows shows latitude generated, and your column shows longitude generated. So what I'm trying to understand is, we're looking at X and Y's. Is Y consider latitude and X consider, is Y consider latitude and X consider longitude? And how do we recognize these latitude and longitude within this graph right here?
All right. So the answer to that is ignore all of that. Tableau is doing, as soon as I selected state, Tableau knew that you want to do a map.
Right.
It automatically generated latitudes and longitudes for it to be shown on the map. Your data may not have all these states information, but Tableau generated that.
Okay.
Anything further? If you have any further questions, let's write down those questions and we can discuss them offline.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks.
Going back to our PowerPoint slide, we talked about the data source level, extract level filter. The filter that we just applied is called quick filter. I mean, it is a filter, but a lot of times you would hear the word quick filter. And that's what it is. I mean, you quickly applied a filter that a user can play with, interact with, or you're applying that filter on your sheet level, at the data level, at the dashboard level, and it's now giving you an option to filter out some data and only allow certain data to show up. The next type of, the next thing I want to show is the power of filter. When you apply a filter, you have the option to create a filter on one sheet and say apply it to all of the sheets. Now what I did is everything in this dashboard and report and chart, everything is now, you would notice every sheet now has a filter called central. Let me undo it so you can see it again. As I go to sheet 4, there is no filter. It's all the data. As I go to sheet 3, it's all regions. As I go to my map, everything. All I did is I went to the filters and I said apply to all the sheets. Apply using this data source. So as long as sheet is using this data source, the same data source that this sheet has, any other sheet that's using this data source will have this filter now automatically applied. And if, as soon as I hit OK, the icon changes. And as you go to the any other sheet, you'll see the filter is already there.
And users can change that, right, Wasim?
Right now, we're talking about just developers, so let's focus on the development side. Any customization, what user can or cannot do, all these things that we are learning today are for developer. And as you learn more, grow more, the answer to every single of those questions is, chances are the answer is yes to anything that you're asking. Chances are that the answer is yes. So for now, let's focus on what you as a developer will build and provide to your end user. Somebody asked earlier that if I apply the data source on, if I apply the filter at the data source level, that means it filters every single sheet. What if I want to apply a different filter at different sheets? Now that we have applied this filter across all the sheets, it's similar issue. That if I make a selection here to East region, everything will be changed now to East region. Everything is now changing to East region. If I go here and change it to West and East both, everything is going to be changed to East and West both. You guys see the power of this filter? Right? So you also have the option to apply it only to selected worksheets. Which worksheets do I want to apply it? Notice the names of all these worksheets automatically show up here. Do I want to apply it on the whole map? No, maybe not. And maybe not on chart either. But everything else, this filter would work. So if I go to the map, let me apply the filter. If I select only Central and West, this map looks different. So this Central and West. But this map is complete. There is no filter here. You see that? There is no filter, but everything else does have a filter. I want you guys to notice this icon. How does it change when I select only this worksheet? And how does this icon change when I select the selected worksheets? And I want you to notice this icon when I select all using this data source. So depending on how you have that filter applied, icon would be different. And as a developer, you can quickly glance at it and you will know what kind of filter have you applied. Is this filter applied across all the sheets, across the data? Or is this filter only on this worksheet? Or is this filter on multiple worksheets? So Tableau gives you a lot of visual cues to some of these things. Any questions so far? Okay.
You just
No.
few minutes ago you mentioned that look at it from the perspective of a developer. I'm just not familiar with Tableau at all. My question is, are there two different versions of Tableau, one for developer and then you can further customize and it's the same report you can
No,
publish as a user side report? No?
no.
What do you
Remember
mean
this
when you
picture
say
that
this focus
right,
of it being
right. So remember when we shared this picture earlier on the PowerPoint slide. Take a look at this picture. This is the desktop, as in Tableau Desktop, where you are creating your visualizations. This is where I am building my dashboard right now. I'm making selections, I'm applying filters, I'm creating graphs and charts and whatnot. Once I have done that, it's good, but no one else can see it. No one else can see it. No one else can consume it. The most common way how people consume it is by you publishing it on a Tableau server. Once you have published on Tableau server, and your end users are going to open up their laptops, they're going to open up their cell phones, they're going to open up a browser and type in the address or the URL or the link that you give them, and they will receive a browser-based report. Basically, they're looking at the dashboard that you developed for them. And in that dashboard, depending on what kind of filters you gave them, they'll be able to select the filters, make changes to the filter, select East region, select West region, and so forth. So they're working in the browser. They don't need to purchase Tableau. They don't need to understand how Tableau works. They're using a web browser. So that's what I meant earlier when I said that don't look at it from end user perspective. Right now we're talking about how do you build the reports. Does that clear?
Yeah, that's right. So if I apply a filter at data source level, users can go and change the values to it, but they cannot remove that data source filter. My understanding is correct?
The data source, don't use the word data source filter because it has a different meaning. But if you're talking about these, if we're talking about these filters, these quick filters, a user, depending on how you have published the dashboard, if you show this filter, people can interact and change the values. If you don't show that filter to them, they will be stuck with the values that you have chosen for them. Like on this sheet, a user cannot do anything except to consume the information. They cannot play with it because there is no filter available to them. But if I show that filter on the screen, now they will have the ability to pick and choose.
Got it. Thank you.
All right.
Appreciate it.
I want to take a step back and talk about something that I didn't talk about, which might help with a lot of my audience today, people who are completely new to this tool. If I create this new sheet, there is this section, which is the data section. There is this section, which is the marks card and filters and pages and rows. You see, this is a gray section. I hope you can see on the screen, all of this is gray section. This gray section is for you to use, but this white space, everything inside this white space is exactly what the end user will see. End user will not see this thing, will not see this thing, or this thing, or this thing. All they will see is this white square. With that said, let's take a look at sheet 6. What's in that white space? Only up to here and this section here. This region filter is part of that white space. This section over columns, rows, filters, pages, mark card, data, analytics, these icons, none of that, or show me for that matter, none of that will be visible to the end user. They will only see sheet 6 and anything else that we put here. And for now, we're learning to put filters here, but there will be other things that we will put here. But that's all your end user sees. I hope that helps understand.
Thank you.
Coming back to our So we talked about the filter. There's other type of filters like context filter or dimension and measure filter. And dates as a there's other topics that I have grayed out because I feel like that they may be a little bit too overwhelming at this stage. Let's see. Let's move to the next topic, which is a little bit more.
Asim, one question.
Yes.
The filters, no, the user level filters, that can be synced up with other worksheets, right? Suppose you apply a filter on one worksheet, it can be synced up with other worksheets, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what we were trying to show. That I'm changing the filter here.
Okay.
What does this icon? Can someone tell me what does this icon mean?
That shows.
It means you make a filter for many sheets, on many sheets.
Yeah.
On
Not many,
database
all sheets.
symbol.
Right? So anything I select here, it is synced with all the other sheets. So you see here,
So it's
Central
one
and
data.
East is selected now.
Okay.
If I select South only here, on this sheet, I go to sheet 5, and it's
Okay.
only South selected here.
Okay.
So that's
It is
what we were discussing. That
Okay.
when you apply to worksheet, you have the option to apply to all, or selected, or only one.
Okay, I got it. Thanks a lot.
Would use the same database
Same data source, yes.
source, yeah, data source.
All right. Now you guys have been very helpful in putting all these charts and graphs together. I have some requirement that I want to see who are my top customers. And I have customer name here, and I have the measures also, sales, quantity, profit, this and that, all of that stuff here. How do I show my top customers here? Can somebody help me, please?
Customer name and
Sorry,
sales.
what is your question?
My question is, I want to see my best customers, my top customers.
Customer ID with sales.
Okay.
Customer name and quantity.
Yes.
Okay. Anyone else? All right.
Customer
So
name and
you're
profit.
saying show the customer name
Yes.
And the profit.
sales
Sales.
or profit.
How do you define best customer?
Sales.
Right.
Sales
So
or
let's
profit?
say sales is the best. I want to
Sales,
proceed by sales. All right.
So you did some statistical measures.
No, all I want to see is best customers by sales.
Yeah.
You
So
can
the-
sort customer name and sales.
Yeah.
It should be
Okay.
sort.
So we got the name. So we got the customer name and we got the sales.
You can start descending order, right? Based on sales.
Yeah, let's start
yeah.
from sales descending order.
We can
Right.
We can make increase or decrease. It's depend on
Yes.
how much he.
You can use the sort.
Yes. That's
if you click
that
on sum,
functionality is called sort. So we want to see this information sorted, and because we are interested in highest sale, that means we should see the highest sales on the top. Otherwise, it's very hard for you to know, okay, this guy has $1,800. Oh, but this one has $3,000. Maybe he's the best. Oh, this is $2,700. So all you need to do is just sort. So you could click on these options: sort descending, ascending, and sort descending. Ascend means from low to high, and descend means from high to low. And as you can see visually, higher amount to lower amounts. So I click on it, and there you go.
Beautiful.
Sean Miller is the best customer, $23,000 sale. Sanjeet, on the other hand, 8,000, and so forth and so forth. So with just a single keystroke, I'm able to sort the data by ascending or descending order.
But how you specify which column you want to make that selection? If we have like many...
Yeah, that's a good question. So if I select on the sort button, it's looking at the measure and it's sorting the customer name by the measure. So if I click on customer name, or if I click on sales, I do have these options, detail options that I can leverage. But right now, let's only focus on the easy way to do it, which is by clicking on this. Let's say I also have the quantity in here as well. Now I have sales and the quantity. So Sean Miller only purchased 27 items, whereas this guy has purchased 40 items. Patrick has purchased 41 items. So how do I now sort by that person? It's no longer working. Now it's looking at the first column or the last column. So in that situation, you click on sum of quantity, and this icon that shows up. If you notice on my screen, a sort icon is showing up here. I click on it and it does ascending or descending order. Did you guys notice this? Is that clear to everybody?
Yes, it is, yeah.
All right. So now I have sorted it by quantity, 52 items. Or I can sort it by sales, 23,000 items. And since this is inside the worksheet, inside the white space, by default, an end user will have the ability to, if they want to change the sort order, they can. I can even click on customer name, and now it's sorted by customer name. So that sort option comes in very handy when you are trying to sort data by certain criteria.
Do we have the same option available here as the Excel, where you can select on multiple ones to have a priority, do it on the first column and then the second column, so on and so forth?
Maybe I misunderstood. Can you rephrase the question?
Brother Wasim, you mean nested sorts. If you can sort on sales first, after that quantity and customer name, like 3 sorts at the same time.
Can you do multiple sorts? That's the question. Yes, you can.
Yes.
Okay. But what if I want to see? What if I want to see only top 10 customers? How do I see that? I mean, it's good. Somebody asked earlier a question about scroll bar. Scroll bar automatically showed up. As soon as the data was longer than my canvas, a scroll bar automatically got added. Now, question is, I was asking, can you mute me? Thank you. So now the question I was asking was, what if I want to see only top 10 customers? How do I do that?
If we need to do it by sales, we can click on the sales, measure, and do a filter.
Okay, so you're saying bring the sales measure into filter?
No. We have one down there. Yeah, if you click on it, we have filter, show filter. And you can do special.
Or
not the filter, the other filter. Sorry, it's not this one, the second one. That's two different.
So for a measure, this was a trick question. You'll learn that
is there any function
measure
for
filter acts differently. You'll learn measure filters act differently than dimension filters. To make it easy, let's say you want to see only top 10. So you select one, you select the Tableau allows you to have multiple selects. So you start selecting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And as you're making selection, notice there's a menu option popping up that says keep only or exclude or filter or sort or group. So you could say keep only, and you're seeing only top 10 customers. That's a one way of doing it quickly.
Yeah, but if you have to select 100, top 100, then
yeah, if you have to select top 100, or if you start making it interactive, now you have to select different regions. What if I select South region? What if I select East region? What if I select? That's a good, very common question when you're interacting with data, when you're working as an analyst, when you're building reports. I want to see top 10 by whichever way I want, and Tableau allows you to build all of that. And that's where computation and calculated fields come into play, which we will learn, inshallah, as we go through regular courses. But I wanted to show you I wanted to at least get you started thinking about things and possibilities that you can do with the tool. So we looked at the some of the top filters. We saw the challenge that comes in when you have other filters applied. One more thing we could do is it's 2 o'clock. I'm wondering if I should open up that. I think I'll skip that for now. Let's go back to the PowerPoint. Let's talk about the built-in functions and calculated fields. I want you to notice in the data, I have discount, profit, quantity, and sales. What I don't have is the cost of the product, for example. If I go to my data source, let's see, take a quick peek at the data source. I see on this order, this was the shipping date, it was shipped this way, this was the customer ID and the name. We purchased bookcases, furniture, $261, and 2 items were purchased. So he purchased 2 items for $261. What was the sales per item?
Divide by 2.
Yeah. What about this person? What would be the sales per item? 731.
Yes.
By quantity. Yeah.
So you'll create a new field for that.
Yeah, because I don't have that data, I can either create a new field or I create a calculation. So what if I say, show me the customer name, my sum of sales, and the quantity that each person purchased. And now I want to see average sales at the customer level. How do I, let's add another field here. and I want to change this from sales to average. And let me bring that down here. So now tell me, even though I selected average sale, it's telling me the average sale is $86. Is that right?
No, we need to. That's wrong.
I mean, it's right. On average, he made $86 sale across all the data because he made total 86. But that doesn't seem right.
But this is average sale, not average. This is not the cost, is it? This is the average sale, not.
So that's when we say that, okay, let me create my own calculation. I delete this and I say, show me the sales divided by quantity. And now I see an average of total sum of sales divided by total quantity. Does the number seem right now? Do the numbers look good now?
Yes.
But it's an integer, right?
Do the numbers look good now?
It's
looks
right?
yes. Looks good.
Anyone else?
Can you change the data?
No floating, only integer, yes.
All right. Yeah, you could change the integer. You can say change the format that this number should be 2 decimal places. But this is one way of doing it. Let's see if we want to do such a thing. If we want to create a field that I can use again and again and again, I can click on this field and I say create a calculated field. Click again, come to the data screen, and there's a drop down with many options, among which first one is create a calculated field. I click on create calculated field, and the first thing I see is the name of the calculation. What do I want to call this calculation? Let's say I want to say
average.
Sorry?
Average?
Unit price.
Average what? Let's say unit sale. Let's say I call it unit sale. What do I need to do? I need to bring in sales, or I can just type in sales
divided by quantity.
Divided by quantity. It says the calculation is valid, and I hit OK. And now I can double click on this, and that gets added. And I can also change the format for this. Sorry. I can change the format for this number to a decimal, 1 or 2 decimal places. All right. Now, let me ask you this question. If I create another calculated field called unit sales, I can't name it same as the other one, so I should say number 2. And I said, show me the sum of sales and divide all of the sum with the sum of all the quantities. This calculation is also valid. And let me add that calculation also in there and change that to 2 decimal places. Now tell me, which calculation is good, which one is bad? Which one has an accurate value, number?
How hard
Second one.
The first one.
The second one.
Let's take a look at
the last one.
Last one is good. Yeah.
First one is good.
Last one is
Last one.
unusable, I guess.
Last one is good. Okay.
Unit sale too.
I think
Yeah,
it depends
unit
on the requirement.
The last one is good.
Yeah.
What's wrong with the first one?
First one, it is giving the cost of 1 unit actually.
And what's the last one giving you?
No. Yeah, right. Sorry. Last one is
The first one is taking the total sales, I guess, and divided by the total quantity. I'm not sure.
For the first one, for each customer. For the second one is for whole customers.
So why would the number change for this customer?
The second one is taking the total sales, the entire sales, and dividing by the quantity purchased by each customer. The first one is taking the sales of each customer and dividing it by the quantity of each customer. The first one is better.
Let's take a look. Let's take a look at the first calculation. You right click on it and say edit. And it says, what did we do? We said, show me the sales and divide it by quantity. Now let's take a look at the second calculation. What did we say? We said, give me the sum of sales and divide it by sum of quantity. They look similar.
The first one gives you the unit price.
Is there any calculation here that's inaccurate? Both of them are accurate, but have a different meaning.
They both have a different meaning.
Yes.
Okay. Can somebody explain what the meaning of the second calculation is?
Total sales divided by total quantity sold.
Is it the average?
1% at a time, please.
Not the average, it's just the total sum divided by total.
So that's the average?
No.
So it is average. Both of them are average, but what's the difference between the two?
Per customer and wholesale, total sale.
So the answer is, I think you guys are getting there.
Yeah.
And let me help you describe it.
Yeah, brother Wasim. The first is divided by 2 for all, I think. No, that's not.
No, it's not. So the first one is saying.
I think
for the first one,
is the same thing, but the second one is not the same sales.
Okay, for the first one
and the quality.
For the first one, you didn't specify sum of what, but for the second one, you specify sum for sales.
Sorry, I miswrote. All right, this is what I meant.
Brother Wasim, the first one is average of total quantity and the total sales, whereas the second one is giving the weighted average for each customer.
Perfect. Exactly right. Do you want to explain it to the rest of the people?
The first one is the sales for each customer, and the second one is aggregating the sales of the previous customer and dividing by the total quantity. So like 86 plus 772 is divided by 7 plus 15.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
Okay.
I want to go back to the previous person. Sorry, I didn't catch your name, but that was perfect answer.
The second one is what it doing is for each customer, each quantity, each sales has been dividing that one. That is called weighted average. Means like for that, like for the customer Adam Hurt, it has 13 quantity and the total sales is 356. So we are dividing 356 divided by 13. So that's why we get like 2731.
Did everybody get that? Do you guys understand what he's saying about Adam?
No, I didn't get it until now.
Okay.
Please repeat.
So
please.
let me show you something. When the Adam's name showed up, it said he has 13 quantities purchased for a total of $355. So let's see if I can open up a calculator. So 355 divided by 13 is what you're expecting. And that should be $27 per item. Is that right? But where is this 113 coming from? That was the issue. That was the problem, right? And it would help you understand where it's coming from if you understand how Tableau is calculating these things.
Yeah.
One of the features of Tableau is how you can quickly see the underlying data for anything that you see on the screen. You can see what was the underlying data. So if I hover over this 13, on the right side here, all the way right here, it says view data. If I click on it, it says Adam Hart had a quantity of 13. If I click on full data, I see it's not 13 rows, it's only 3 rows. And each row tells me that he purchased chairs, 3 chairs for $300, 7 reams of paper for $27, and 3 pieces of art for $12.
I told you that is the problem is the quality of the cells itself.
No,
for that
no,
is give us the
no,
this
follow. No, follow me here. Try to understand. When your data came in, the data tells you that he purchased 3 chairs. You see here, 3 chairs for $314. 7 papers were purchased at $27, and 3 pieces of art were purchased for a total of $12. If you add up the quantity, it's 13. If you add up the sales, it's $355. Everybody with me so far? Any questions so far?
No.
All right, good. So we agree that there is 13 quantities and $355. Now let's take a look at our calculation, how we were doing the calculation. In one formula, we're saying for each sale divided by the quantity, for each row, there's 3 rows, divide the sales by quantity. So what does that mean? What would be the first row when this calculation is applied? What's the first row? 314?
314 divided by 3.
Divided by 3, and the answer would be 104.784.
Yes.
As you can see here, unit sales.
And
right?
also 27 divided by 7. 3,398.
Yeah, and the third row is 12.84 divided by 3, and the answer is 4.2. Any questions so far? Everybody with me so far? Any doubts so far?
No.
No.
Okay. Now I want you to take a look at the calculations that we have. 2 different calculations we have. What's the first calculation? It says sum of
each number
unit
for
sale.
what?
Yes, it says sum of unit sale. What is unit sale here in the first row? $104. Was the unit here $3, and the third one is 4. What's the sum of these unit sales? 104 plus 398 plus 4.2. What's the answer? 113.05, right?
Right.
Everybody with me so far?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hey Wasim, there is no audio, or probably just me.
Can you guys
Just
hear me?
we can hear.
All right, perfect.
Just no.
All right, so you guys see how 113 was calculated. What's the calculation in the second row? In the second formula. We said don't look at the sale. This is a 13 records. 3 records.
we said don't look at each individual record. Instead, what did we say? Show me the sum of sales. No, we said show me the sum of sales.
So
First,
we will make the sum of the sales divided by the sum of the quantity.
Yeah. So what is the sum of sales? What are the sales? 314 plus 27 plus 12. What is that number? 330, 340, 355, something like that?
Yeah.
And then we said sum of quantity. 3 plus 7 plus 3.
13.
That's equal to what? 13. Then we said divide 355 by 13. And the answer is bingo. What's the answer?
27.
2 points.
27.15.
27.31. That's the answer.
So
what did we just learn? So what did we just learn? That Tableau will do the calculation whatever you tell it to. But you need to be careful in how you create the calculation. Are you creating a calculation at the individual record level? Or are you creating a calculation at the aggregate level? We had two different calculations that looked quite similar, but have a very different answer because how we created the calculation. In one place, we're saying for each row, each record, individual record, give me the sale divided by quantity, and then later on, sum the whole thing up. In the other calculation, we're saying, no. Show me the grand total of sales for this customer and divided by the grand total of the quantity for this customer. And that's the unit price. So what calculation is accurate for our situation if we are trying to calculate unit cost or unit sale? First one or the second one?
Second one.
Second one.
Anybody that thinks first one is accurate?
Second one is accurate.
I think first one is correct.
Second one.
Individual.
Second one.
All right. So the answer is the second one is accurate. The first one has a meaning, but it's really meaningless. I'm not sure what purpose. There may be a reason for you as a business person to look at it from that angle, but I cannot think of a reason why you would create that calculation. If you're looking for your average sale amount at a customer level, then the second calculation is accurate, first one is not. Any questions now?
No.
Okay. So you guys learned your first lesson in calculations, and that's one of the foundational questions that will help you a long way. That when you are writing your calculation, the key difference is, do you put the aggregates in the calculation or do you do the aggregates outside of the calculation? There are times when you may have to do the aggregation outside, but there are times when you have to do the aggregation inside. Also notice the difference in everything that we see here. This one has an equal sign icon. If you notice the icon, the number signs, they have an equal sign next to them. That means it's a calculated field. Do you guys see that? Any question on that?
No.
Perfect. Okay.
Yeah, it's almost the same thing as Excel, right? Because in Excel also, like you have the filters and you have the sorting and you have the calculation with the equal sign before doing any calculation. It's just like more advanced, right?
Yeah. I mean, Excel is popular across the world. But you pick Lotus Notes, for example, or you pick any other analytical tool, chances are they will have similar interface or similar, at least to some of these fundamental concepts would be similar.
So based to what you do now as calculation. So we can inject in correlation in our calculation based on our variable we have from the data source.
Yeah, depending on what question is being asked, what is it that you're trying to show, you have to make sure that your calculation is actually doing what you want it to do.
Yeah, thank you.
All right.
Brother Wasim, I have a quick question.
Yeah,
I'm new to this Tableau. This is the first time I'm doing this, and quick question is when we connect to the data source, the actual data in the data source can be modified through this interface, Tableau, or
no, it cannot.
Okay.
It only pulls the data. It only reads the data. No, it cannot modify.
Sure. Thank you.
All right. So we looked at calculated field, and as we created this calculated field, notice that the columns that you have in your database are all here, but this is additional columns that don't exist in your database. So this is something that you created, and now this will be available on every sheet. Wherever you go, you can see the values. So my average unit sale is $63 at the level. I can break it down by state level, by category level, by furniture level. So all of that can be done because now it's a calculated field. This is now available inside Tableau everywhere within this workbook. Now I want you to.
Yeah, just a quick question. So we can add a new measure. Is it possible to exclude any of the default measure from a view?
Yeah, that's a good question that I was expecting to come in the initial data connection screen. But let me rephrase that question so everybody understands what is being asked. So what he's asking is that we see all these fields. There are times when you may not want to see the ship date, or you may not want to show the profit to the end users. Is there a way to remove those from the? And the answer is yes. When you are pulling in the data in your data screen, you have the option to say, I don't want to see this field. I don't want to see that field. So if I don't want to see profit, I can click on it and I can say hide it. Or once I'm inside here, because I'm using profit right now in some of the calculations I can, but let's say row ID, for example. Imagine this was their salary or some information that I don't want to see. I can click on this and I can say hide. And as soon as I say hide, it will gray out. It won't show up anymore as part of the fields that are available in the dashboard.
Would that only apply to sheet 10 if you do it in sheet 10?
No. If I go to sheet 9, it's not there anymore. It's applying at the whole data level.
Can you do it at a sheet level?
I'm not sure why. What use case would you have to do it at the sheet level? Can you explain why a situation when you may want to do it at the sheet level? Because sheet level is for you as a developer, but you're right as a developer to put things together, right? So
sometimes I might have securities and I'm creating a data set for a customer. Sorry, different businesses have different securities and sensitivities to data. I won't show that column on the
right. So you're not showing. Try to understand this white screen that you see on my screen, the white section. This is all that your end users are going to see.
That is only for developers. These are only for developers. Yeah.
So the end users are going to see only the white screen. They're not going to see this. They're not going to see this. They're not going to see this.
So why would you for everything just to reduce the amount of data?
It's going to be just read, no edit, just read.
I
So
know.
why do we
I'm
want to
just
remove
saying.
it is, so there's a few reasons why somebody want to do that. One, that there are times when you have too many columns that are unnecessary for your dashboard. Imagine me working for in my last project for a hospital that had more than 200 columns for 1 million records, right? So I don't need those 200 columns. All I care for are maybe these 15 columns. Me bringing in the data, millions of rows or hundreds of thousands of rows for all those columns is unnecessary. So I just remove those columns. So now that would reduce the amount of data, that would make it faster, and that would make it more friendlier for me to develop.
Yeah, the other thing I would imagine that the question that was asked, right? If you have a different set of users, I assume from the security standpoint, when you put up a dashboard or something for the users, it would have some kind of a access control, right?
That's a topic that we should discuss later. But there are
collaboration, right?
There are different ways. There are not ways, actually. There's different aspects of security that you implement. For the sake of this conversation, let's move on.
Brother Wasim, once you hide it from the table, how can you bring it back? Can you show me how you bring it back?
Yeah, you could go to the data source and you can say, hey, I was hiding one of the columns, unhide it.
How do you do that? Oh, okay, sure. Okay, thank you.
Just a question now regarding to hiding the one of the columns. And in this column, even it's hidden, it's going to be in fact affected by the changes you are doing, right? So in case you bring it back, it's going to be changing because you made some changes before, right?
Because it's column, it wouldn't be changing. There should be no change affecting it. But if there were things that are affecting it, then yeah, it would affect it. I cannot think of a reason why a column would be affected with the changes we are making.
Let's say like you mentioned the profit, and then if you change like a sale price or so the profit is going to change even it's hidden, but it's going to be in the back. It's going to be calculating to the profit, but not showing to you as a user. You just take it off, but if you bring it back, you can see the profit changing.
No, to think of it this way: if this field is being used in a calculation, then you cannot hide it.
Okay.
All right. So we talked about we saw a unique case, a foundation of calculation, how to create calculated field. I want to quickly go over, in the essence of time, I want to quickly go over some built-in functions that are available. So if you go to create a calculated field, on this right hand, there's a triangle you can click and it would open up the help. Here's the list of all the various type of built-in functions that are available. Like you have string functions. You could use find, you can use search, you could even use regular expressions, you can say splits, you can use trim. You have date level functions. You have logical functions, if then else calculation. You could create if then else expressions. You have statistical functions, mathematical functions. All those functions, they are built in and they are readily available. Like if you want to say, show me the highest sales amount, basically I'm looking for the max value of a sale. So max is a function. I created a calculated field. and that would show up now here. Let's say I want to show it in the same field here. And it says over here, highest sales amount is $22,638. So we used a max function inside a calculation. We could use sum functions, we could use string functions, Boolean functions. So there, as we learn more with some examples, as we learn more about using Tableau and creating calculated fields, these are the type of functions that would come in very handy when you're trying to build things.
Wasim, can you these calculated fields, can we use it in other reports besides the one you're creating it on?
So the fields that you are creating, think of it this way. All of these columns, where do they come from? They come from this data source. The data connection you had, they come from that data source, right? You with me so far? All of these measures, where do they come from? They come in from this data source. All the calculated fields that you created here, where do they live? They live in this data source screen. If you scroll all the way right, you'll see your calculated fields are showing up here.
Okay.
So all of these calculated fields, they live inside this Tableau workbook. They live inside this Tableau workbook. That means as long as you're using this data source in this workbook, these fields are available. If you open up a new workbook and you connect to the same data source, these calculated fields will not exist there.
Is there a way to do an import of these things to the new?
Yeah, there's different ways. And if you recall, we talked about here we talked about TWV, TWVX, but we also talked about TDS and TDSX. That you can publish this data along with these calculated fields on the server. So rather than you connecting to this file, you connect to this published data, which already has these calculated fields.
And that will be your TDS or TDSX?
It could be either or.
Either or. Okay. All right. That's fine.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. So at this point, I would like to bring in the Tableau offers you a lot of advanced analytics. I have a slide that we generally go over in some of our other presentations, but in the essence of time, we will not be able to do.
Ask you one question really quickly, very quick one.
Yes, please.
So when you do the calculated fields and some things we say are meaningless or meaningful, is it like some best practice that whenever you are calculating, you go to the business and say, hey, this is what I got. Is this what you were expecting? Whenever you're doing a calculated, because it wasn't part of original data before you move forward.
So let me rephrase the questions, and you can tell me and everyone else can understand it as well. You're asking, is this a best practice to check with your business people in saying, hey, I created this calculated field. Is this good or not? Is that what you're asking?
If the numbers look good, yes.
If you are not a subject matter expert, then you should consult with your people who are subject matter experts. But chances are that once you familiarize yourself with the data, you will have the understanding that if you are calculating it right or not. And the second thing I would show you is in response to that, when you create these calculated fields, there is an option for you to write a comment about these calculations. So you could say, this calculates, this divides the sum of all sales by all quantities. So now that you have said that, it's not going to show up in your dashboard, but this will be now available as a what do you call helping teacher. See, as you're hovering over unit sale, you don't see anything. But as you hover over this one, you see a comment that says this divides the sum of all sales by all quantities.
But that's only in design view, not when you
That's
are.
only in the design view. That's not only in the design view. This can also be made available inside your when your users hover over it. They can see this definition as well.
To create the calculation or formulation is as quick to create and edit or create here when you.
Can you ask rephrase the question, please?
Yes, to import the formulation for calculation for unit cells, you put here in edit or create.
I clicked on the itself, the definition or the calculation itself.
Yes, yeah.
And then I said default properties, and I went to comment, and I put the comment over there.
I have a question.
So you could select any of the fields.
Not for comment is how to put the formulation, the sum divided by.
All of that you can. If you're asking how do I, we already created that calculation. We clicked here and we said create a calculated field. Is that what you're asking? Like how we got there?
Yes, yeah.
Right. You can right click anywhere. Hold please. Or you can right click anywhere and say create a calculated field. Or
I have
click on here and say create a calculated field. Yes.
I have a question. If, for example, we made a formula for calculate something, and we want to use it in other database, can we make it like standard and we can use it in other database?
No, it's not done inside the dashboard or inside the Tableau Desktop. You could share that calculation with your database people and they can implement in the database.
Okay.
One quick question here. So when we publish this reports, right? So does end user say on the UI? So will the users have privilege to slice and dice or click and view the reports in different ways, or is it a static report that is shown?
We'll see that. We'll see that now. That's the next step. Any other questions?
Brother, you see?
Wasim, just one question. So you made a table, right? Like a cross table tabulations, right? So it's for a temporary view, right? Like, can we move that same tables into a dashboard as well?
You're talking about, for example, this some of the
sheet
cross
5 or
tabs
6
that we created here.
Yeah, this one. Yeah. The tables.
It's a view. It's a viz. And all of these sheet 5, sheet 4, sheet 6, all of these vizzes can be part of the dashboard. We'll see that.
Can we? I mean, like the same created tables can also be imported into dashboards. Okay.
Correct.
Okay.
Brother Asim, is it possible in Tableau to have like a multiple data sources?
Yes.
We can join how
yes. Yes. That is a topic that we skipped because of the nature of this, but yeah, the joins, the cross database joins, the blending, raw SQL, all of that is an option, but it's beyond the scope of this 4-hour webinar.
Okay, Jazakallah.
Wasim?
So now I in essence of time, I would say hold the questions. Let me finish the dashboard piece. I think you guys would be remiss if you don't see this piece. And how do you share this information? I have only 1 or 2 slides left here, I think. And then I'll open up the Q&A. For now, please don't ask any question unless I give you the forum to ask the question. Thank you. All right, now that we have created our visualizations, we created some charts, graphs, maps, we made it interactive, we applied filters. Now you want to present it to your end user, and you could present it just like this, but it's not really telling much story. So Tableau gives you an option to create a dashboard, what is called a dashboard. Dashboard and stories, these are the two different ways you could put the information together. And for this webinar, we will only be talking about dashboard. And dashboard is really nothing but a collection of worksheets. On the bottom, you see how we have been adding new sheets. Just like that, we have an option to click on this plus sign and it says new dashboard. So create a new dashboard, and a familiar interface shows up with a white space here. This is the space that will act like a dashboard, and your end user will see this dashboard when you publish it. On the left side, the main thing I want you to notice is the sheets section. It has all the sheets that are present in this workbook. And let's say if I want to start bringing in some of these workbooks, I would say, let's see my geography data. Let's see I just drag the sheet here. And this is my sheet, and it came in along with the filter. And let's say I want to also show the sales over a period of time. I want to see my top salespeople. I want to see my categories. All I'm doing is just double clicking, and by default, wherever it sees it can put the information, it's been throwing the information there. And these filters, as I'm applying these filters, notice how data is changing across all the sheets. Because if you guys remember, we said that this filter should be applicable to all the sheets. So now that we have this thing that has all these sheets on it, we could publish this whole collection as a dashboard. Now it doesn't look nice. It doesn't look nifty. So for that, you want to create a dashboard that is appealing and flowing, and it has a method to it. For that reason, you want to start using some of the objects functionality. And the first one we want to learn about is the container. So rather than throwing everything and automatically randomly, snapping together as sheets, you build your own container. You say, I want to create a container and I want to throw things inside this container. First, I want to add a text box to this container that says ABC company sales dashboard. And I want to make it beautiful. So I want to make it bold and maybe large in some red font. All right. And then I want to bring in the chart. But before I bring in the chart, I would like to bring in the vertical container on the bottom here. So now I have a second container added in here. Inside this container, now I will start adding my things, and I can also format the object by applying some colors. And in here, I can say, give me a vertical container, and I want to throw the map inside this container. So try to see, as I'm trying to bring in one of these sheets, notice the gray area that tells me where this would land. Right now, it would take over half of the left side of the whole dashboard. I don't want it to show, I don't want it to restrict the header. I want inside this container. So I need to bring it here, inside, not here, not here, not here, not here, inside. All the other places that I was saying not here, not here, those are possibilities. I could throw the, if I throw this here, it's gonna take up the first half of the horizontal half of the dashboard. But that's not where I want to put the chart. If I throw it here, it's gonna take the right hand side of the dashboard. That's not the right place. So I hope you got the point that how you can find the right place for these dashboards, for these sheets to show up. And let me go down. If I want it to snap on the bottom of this graph, I should bring it here. And you notice here on the, notice it's going to show up underneath this graph. I can change the size if I need to. I can set up whatever parameters I want to set up. Or I can even change it to a floating object so I can place it wherever I want to place it. I can also say, hey, show me the filter that I want to show my end users. Remember the filter we had for the region? I could even show the filter. So now, as I'm making changes to this dashboard, it looks more appealing and it looks more conducive to consumption. I can change the headers here, and I can say what each of this is supposed to show. Not only that, I can also enable or disable the tooltips. As I'm hovering over these, I see tooltips by default showing up. Arkansas 11,000, Grant Thornton. Maybe it doesn't make sense for me to have tooltips on this screen. Go to the sheet. On this, click on tooltips, and I say don't show tooltips. Now come back to my dashboard. I don't see any tooltips, but I do see tooltips here because I didn't disable over there. All right, now that I have my dashboard here, I can now share it with other people. How do I share it with others? There are multiple ways to share, but chances are when you go for an interview or when you're working for an organization, they would want you to share the dashboard by publishing it to a Tableau server. For that, I would need to log in to a Tableau server. You type in your Tableau server's address over here. Hit connect. It's going to ask you for your username and password. And once you have entered the username and password, then it allows you to publish. Let me see if I can publish to Tableau Public, which is a free Tableau server for people like you and me.
Wasim, for a company, you would never do that, right? So can you do it to a directory?
For a company, you would do that. You would do either log on to their Tableau server. So there's different ways.
I mean, like the public, like you have it public,
yeah.
right?
For public, yes. For an organization, you wouldn't do the public, yes. But for most of us on the call today who are learning and don't necessarily have a resource where they can actually have access to a Tableau server, I want to share the Tableau public because that's a great place that you can publish your work and still get the experience of publishing and sharing with others.
But would you be able to also create like a directory or would it be somewhere else if you were to share?
You would create, sorry, what was the question?
So if you were, say, in an organization, would you put it at a directory or would you still need to find like a server? I mean, can you do a local directory that's shared?
For your end user,
yeah,
to see the dashboard using their browser, you have to publish it to a Tableau server. That Tableau server could be a server that your company purchased and installed in their environment. That Tableau server could be that Tableau server could be a resource that they purchased on the cloud, or that Tableau server could be a server space that they purchased on Tableau's cloud, cloud.
Is it like a web server?
One of the components of Tableau server is web server, but it's more than that.
Okay.
So now that I have logged on to a Tableau server, I can publish this workbook. What title do I want to give this workbook so that when people log on and they try to access this, I want to say ABC Company Sales Dashboard. And I hit save. And now it's publishing. One thing I want you to notice is that it's saying, if you notice here, it says almost 12 views that it's publishing, preparing view 1 to 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There's 12 tabs on this dashboard. That's what it's calling 12 views. But frankly speaking, we were supposed to only publish the dashboard. We really don't need to publish everything, right? So you have the ability to hide all the other tabs and say, just publish the dashboard. I don't want people to be confused with anything else. All I want them to see is the dashboard. And this is what your end user is going to see. They will see ABC Company Sales Dashboard, GeoMap, Top 10. They will have the ability to make changes to using the interactive filter. And that interactive filter will be applicable, as you can see, to the views.
To view this on public, you also need an account on public Tableau?
Yes, you will need to create an account on Tableau Public as part of the PowerPoint slide. As part of the PowerPoint slides that we were looking at, I have put the information about address of the public. I'm suggesting to create an account there and explore. I also suggest that you create an account on community.tableau.com if you like. Community is a resource where people like you and me, they answer each other's questions. They help people with when they get stuck with their dashboard, and they show their work. Tableau Public is a place where you publish your dashboard, and you could use that as a portfolio, if you will. So tomorrow, if you apply for an interview, they say, do you have any sample work? You can say, here's the URL, here's a link to my public profile. And when they go to the public profile, they see all those beautiful dashboards that you've been building.
Can you put some restriction who can view your dashboard and who cannot, some roles?
Yeah, I think for the sake of this today's session, there is a whole set of configuration that goes into as to how do you apply permissions and restrict access, and who gets to see what part of the dashboards. So that's beyond the scope. For the sake of our understanding, let's start with building some visualization. Having learned how to use desktop would be the first process.
Hey, Wasim.
Brother Wasim, making
Wasim, this is just a reminder. We have 10 minutes left for for the time for the time.
Right. Thank you, brother.
Okay.
Let's go back to the question. What was the question, please?
Yeah, the question was, so is the roles, etc., that would be expected of the desktop expert,
All
or
of that
would
is a
that be?
conversation. All of that a conversation outside of the scope.
It is, but I'm just asking that as a developer on the desktop, would that be my responsibility, or would that be a responsibility of the admin or something like that?
I don't know what company you're working for and what their rules are.
Okay, so it's a company specific. Thank you.
Wasim, one question. You told me, right, when you're publishing the workbook to the dashboard, all the 12 worksheets are published. So you want to hide the worksheets, right? How do we do that?
Right, I was going to show that. So what you do is you can right click on these sheets.
Okay.
And you can see where is it being used.
Okay.
And you can say, I want to hide this worksheet. Or you can select multiple of these worksheets.
Okay.
And you can say, hide all of these worksheets.
Okay. Then it won't be published to the dashboard, the workbook. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Now that I have these sheets hidden, I can publish whatever I want to publish. And now when I publish it, it would still have those sheets, but it won't.
Okay.
It would still have those sheets, but it won't publish them as individual tabs for an end user. It will show up as this: 1 tab for dashboard 2 and 1 tab for dashboard 1.
Okay. Normally, when a developer doesn't publish the worksheets, no, they publish only the dashboard, right?
Normally, you would publish a dashboard, yes.
A question: how can other people access to these?
Yeah, that's a good question. Let's talk about that. So now that you have published this dashboard, you could share it with other people by giving them this link. If you're publishing it on the Tableau public server, if you're publishing it on your organization's Tableau server, you will get something of a similar interface that allows you to copy the URL and send it to them. If I send this URL, for example, in this chat, if I send this URL and you access it, you will all see that now you have the ability to see this dashboard. Does that answer?
Can you please repeat the process, because I didn't see in which button you click on it to share, please?
This process will really not matter, because this is on the public profile. But if you are going to share, you could click on the share button here on the published dashboard, and it gives you the ability to copy this link. But in practical life, when you're working for an organization, you'll be publishing to a Tableau server, and there are other ways of sharing it from the server. Coming back to the slide, the last piece I want to talk about is actually we're short of time, so I'll just say this: that you have the option to export and save it as an image. You could even export this report as a PDF file, and you can email it to somebody and say, hey, this is the report, that the daily report that you were looking for, or this is the monthly report and here's the PDF copy. And if you're interested in seeing the actual dashboard, here's the link that you can play with. And this is the PDF export of the dashboard. You could make it pretty. You can configure it to fit on the screen and add other bells and whistles. But at least in a nutshell, yes, you could export in different formats. You could export it as an image, as a cross-tab data, as PDF, as PowerPoint, or the whole workbook. All right, so last thing that I want to talk about in our presentation is our boot camp that's coming up. At BBDS, we plan to conduct our Tableau 2 days boot camp. It would be more than 10 hours. Actually, it's almost a 14-hour boot camp on Saturday and Sunday. Not this coming Saturday, Sunday, but the one after, February 20th and 21st. The fees for that boot camp is $200. It is not going to be, there are limited seats. To make it engaging, interactive, and hands-on, I cannot afford to have 100+ people sitting in there, right? I want to be cognizant of the fact that to make it productive, we're going to keep it to limited seats. We will be sharing the link to register after the call. You should expect an email with the link, and would love for you guys to join there if you're interested in pursuing that. I also want to, as part of this presentation, I also want to share some of the resources for your offline learning. If you choose to learn Tableau, there's plenty of resources online, and some of those are mentioned here that I would encourage you to leverage, take use of. By the way, we do offer a certification preparation program. We offer server administration program. We also offer data science for Tableau for data science pro. There's handful number of other programs that we have available, but and you can take advantage of all of those. With that, just like we had a survey opened up earlier at the beginning of the program, I have a different survey at the end of the program, and I would like to share that survey link in the chat window. I would like you to go ahead and within the next few minutes that we have on the call, if possible, take care of the survey.
There's one question.
The bootcamp which you said.
Hold on to the question, please. All right, so we started off talking about what Tableau is. We looked at the company itself. We looked at the job market. We talked about the ecosystem of Tableau, what Tableau environment looks like. We touched on a few things on the interface itself. We tried to learn what Tableau Desktop, how do you use Tableau Desktop. We brought in some of the data. We built, actually you guys helped me build a lot of these views. We created a set of filters. We created some calculated fields also. We talked about how to put together a dashboard. We published it. We saw how do you share with it, and the options to share and interact with the dashboard and even export and such. We talked about some of the resources that are going to be available for you to learn your Tableau. We talked about the bootcamp that's coming up in less than 2 weeks. And at this point, I am opening up the survey for you to take and make sure that you submit your honest feedback as soon as you can. With that, I appreciate the opportunity. I thank you all for giving me the opportunity to be part of your learning, be part of, giving me the trust that I can share the knowledge that I have attained over the period of time. And I look forward to working with most of you, if not all of you, in the near future. So thank you all, and best of luck. With that, brother, I think we are at the spot at 3 o'clock. If you, Mo, if you're okay, maybe I can stick around for a few questions that people may have. Otherwise, officially we are done with today's presentation.
Yes, thank you, Wasim, for the great presentation, and thank you everybody for your patience and staying with us for the last for 4 hours. You don't feel the time, and now there is a lot of fun, a lot of enjoyment, and that is all what's going to happen when you get a job with the data. Data is all fun, you know. So yes, it's officially we are officially done with the presentation. But if you guys want to stay chat outside the webinar, so you are free to do so. But we are officially officially we are going to stop recording.
For a few years now, one of the most hardworking data scientists I've ever seen, who loves to share his knowledge, and I want to give him a shout out to say thank you for giving us the platform and arranging for this opportunity for so many people from around the world. I think last we checked, there were like 29 or 30 countries that we have people attending this session right now. So thank you, Mo, for arranging and facilitating all of that. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much, and thank you for accepting the invite.
Any questions, guys?